Fight on, everyone. The Victory Bell is coming home to downtown LA. USC has beaten UCLA in a thriller for the ages. With Joel Klatt, Gus Johnson, and even Josh Pate in the house, the Trojans pull off the win 48-45 over UCLA. What a night. What a game. USC has secured its spot in the Pac-12 championship game and is in the driver's seat for a spot in the college football playoffs. Hallelujah, Lincoln Riley. Guys, we are here live on the Voice of College Football's USC Postgame Live. I'm Tony Altimore here with Tim Prangley, and we'll be joined in a little bit by LBC Trojan live from Vegas as well. And we're glad to have you guys with us here for the night. Thanks for joining us. Our goal is to hear what you guys think about this game. So in just a minute, we're going to post the StreamYard link. We'd love to have you call in, tell us what was going on. Had a blast chatting with some of you guys actually live during the game. Loved getting pictures from the stadium, which is really cool. And just overall, what a wonderful night for USC. So we love to have you guys call. You can also engage us in the chat feature, or you can direct message us on Twitter. If you have questions, you want to control the discussion, if you want to help support the show with a super chat, that's tremendously appreciated by the entire Voice of College Football community. So without further ado, guys, let's bring back in Tim Prangley. Tim, the Victory Bell is home. What do you think?
Oh, it's where it should be. Vegas, baby, right? Vegas. That's all I care about.
Vegas,
right now.
baby, Vegas.
Right? Just that scene.
Vegas,
from,
baby.
that all week long. The scene from
Swingers.
Swingers, just Vegas,
Swingers.
baby. It's gonna be that all
Vegas,
week long.
baby,
now.
Vegas. What a night.
Yeah, if you'd have told me that we were gonna hold Charbonnet under 100 yards rushing, I'm taking it, but I don't think they're getting 45 if we do that. It was quite an amazing effort, and to see the man of the hour, Corey Forman, a much maligned player. People keep saying, "Where's Forman? Where's Forman?" Hey guys, there's Forman. That dude just saved that game for us, because you know what? I don't see a stop there unless we take it away from those guys. So hats off to Corey.
No, that game, that what we needed it. We needed a takeaway, and we got it. Just absolutely did what we needed to. I mean, lots of, and we'll talk about it a little more. You know what, tonight, guys, let me tell you this. If you whine in the chat about our defense, which was a little porous, or our kicking, which was pretty terrible, tonight, as the Victory Bell's coming home, you're going to timeout. This is a no whining show. This is a celebratory night. What do we think?
Yeah. It's not
we'll have good discussions, but no whining.
Yeah.
Because the Victory Bell is, guys, I hate when that bell is blue. So some of you guys don't know this. I was a Trojan Knight. I did the whole stay up all night in front of Tommy Trojan thing. I don't like the Victory Bell being gone. It is home.
Let's face it, they don't deserve it. Come on.
Mac, light your cigar in Hoke, DMACC, as well. What a night. What a night.
Yeah, great night. I mean, Caleb Williams, talk about getting ready for the Heisman. Everybody in the
sir, your live updates get you an exemption, by the way.
Everybody in the Discord saw I struck it for him. I put a Heisman post for him inside the Discord today, because I'm telling you right now, this guy over the last 5 games, and I called it after Utah. I said, we've got some defenses coming up that he's going to throw some numbers up. But again, Caleb Williams, 32 of 43, 470, 2 touchdowns and 1 interception. Just completely went off. He added another 32 on the ground and a touchdown. Just an amazing night. And on a night where you saw Tennessee get crushed, and so Hendon Hooker's going to take a hit for that. I was not impressed with Stroud today, and I think that he solidified at least himself in New York, even with just one. He's got one more big stage, just like Carson Palmer. It's gonna be a national game, USC versus Notre Dame. Now Notre Dame did really well today. They'll be ranked as well. This would be another great opportunity for Caleb on a national stage to show everyone that he deserves to, if not win the Heisman, be there in consideration. I think it's almost for sure now.
Well, Tim, I keep thinking I've seen this movie before, with the team and the new coach and the surging season and the big win over UCLA and a big win over Notre Dame and a Heisman Trophy. Have we seen this movie?
I like the train we're on right now. Let's just keep it moving.
I think I've seen this movie. It's like 2002.
It's a year ahead again. It's a year ahead. Last time we had a new coach come in, it took us a year to build up slowly. He didn't have a transfer portal. But what Lincoln Riley has done, putting us in the Pac-12 championship game after going 4-8 and being the doormat last year, losing to BYU, losing to Cal. I mean, the teams that we lost to,
it was bad. It was bad. Shameful.
We were from the worst defenses we've ever had, and this defense played at times, great time. We got nobody was stopping this UCLA team. And it was killing me how they were able to find that big soft spot in the zone over the middle. But I mean, they made some great plays, 3 turnovers, right? I mean, excellent game by the defense, and they stepped up right when they had to.
They really did. It was a fantastic night. I love Gixer Squid pointed out the crowd was great, the energy was great. Guys, Josh Pate was there, and Josh Pate is a Fleetwood Mac fanatic. And he has talked about he's always wanted to be there to see USC play Tusk. And as we won and they launched into Tusk, I can't wait to see his videos of it. It's going to be something else. Gixer, okay, you're forgiven. A fan made the same. That's actually really funny.
Stop there. So we gave Williams his props. Jones goes for rushes 21 yards for 120 yards. And that guy was
Jones
running
was the man
angry.
tonight.
He was running angry and playing huge. 2 touchdowns. And the funny thing is he got those 120 yards the hard way. His longest run was only 13 yards. But he was just a man possessed. And Barlow popped out. He had amazing. He's been on the bench. I was wondering where the transfer from TCU has been. Well, that's where he's been. He's been behind some really good players. And he came out on that one drive and absolutely scored that touchdown on his own, just willed himself into the end zone. So really amazed with the depth at running back. I do like the fact, again, that we kept Charbonnet under 100 yards. I'm sure that was a team goal, and they did that. Got the W with it.
I mean, I thought the defense played great. I mean, the thing is we had a real bad first quarter, and we paid the price by it. We paid the price for it. We blew it. And Tim and I talked about this actually at halftime. I thought we played really terribly in the first quarter, and we could have been down at halftime by a lot. But we salvaged it with interceptions. We salvaged it with some comebacks. The team played scrappy, and the team really mitigated the damage. We put our fingers in a whole bunch of holes in the dam and held them. And going down into halftime, only down 1. Arguably we could have been up by a lot, but we could have been down by a lot too. And I thought we really, really looked impressive in how we were able to make it come together. So, guys, by the way, we put the link in the chat. We'd love to have you guys call in. I know some of you are still in the stadium, dancing around, having fun. Tell us what it was like in the stadium tonight in the Arroyo. The views looked incredible. I wish they would have sold those seats to us instead of covering them up with their banners. But the crowd sounded loud and sounded good. And Notre Dame looked good today. We're going to talk about them in a little bit. They basically had a scrimmage against a flu-weakened Boston College. But what a night for the Trojans. Mr. Bromar, I can't believe Caleb is only a sophomore. Yeah, me either. I mean, he looks like Patrick Mahomes out there. He certainly, I thought, looked more mature and more NFL ready than DTR did. Although DTR looked great. UCLA played a pretty great game too, I thought. This was one for the ages.
Yeah, so we talked about Williams, we talked about the running game, but let's go again. Let's talk about those receivers, the receiver room. At the beginning of the year, I went and ran around with Mark Rogers. We usually agree on 90% of the stuff, but I didn't agree that Ohio State had the best receiver room. Quietly, Addison had 11 catches for 178 yards. He had that big one for 48, but I mean, he was racking them up. But then Kyle Ford, how big did he play? That fade pass he caught, that was a pivotal drive. He came down with that touchdown. We needed points. He went up and grabbed it. He only had 3 catches, but he had 3 catches for 73 yards and 1 touchdown.
In fact, Tim, we had an addition. Kyle Ford was so good, he got added to our little game edit here.
Yeah, he's really, really playing great ball right now. He's filled in, in spots where we need that extra push. Mario Williams came back. He had that big drop, but he looks healthy, and I'm sure it's just a matter of time before he gets his mojo back. So that'll be interesting.
It will be. Tim, what did you think of? We didn't hear much from Gentry, but I thought he got the job done.
He wasn't in very much.
No, not as much. But when he was, I thought you could see the difference.
Yeah, well, who played really well was Shane Lee. I mean,
Yeah, he did.
Again,
Interception.
well, just especially on the ground as well. You know, we were really bottling them up. You remember last year, it was a nightmare. Do you know what I mean? It was like a sieve right up the middle. But Shane Lee, for me, just seemed like he was all over the place.
Actually,
making
no,
tackles.
I really don't remember. I'll be honest, I really don't remember much in that game because it was so traumatic.
Yeah, but it was
so bad.
The way he was playing, I was just, man, just great tackles. And one thing about this game, and especially at the very end, you saw, I don't know if you've turned off, but you saw Bobby Haskins. This guy has only been here for a short time. He had a rough week with everything went down. I don't know how well he knew the players that were involved. I'm sure they're on the same team together.
Yeah, they were, I'm sure, very close. The game,
he was in tears. And it just shows you just how this team has come together. This team is something special. I can't be more happier with the players. I could go on and on talk about the players in this team. I just can't be more pleased with the way they played this game. I was really nervous when we had that. It was weird. That's what happens. I'm not going to be negative, but that's what happens to USC. Our drives unravel pretty fast. And when Caleb Williams did that play where I thought he was just trying to do a little too much, you know, just like Klatt said, just a little pump fake to freeze that defensive back. He easily could have ran for at least a first down, if not more. He freezes that guy up and gets that first down. He makes that weird throw, then the sack, then the punt. Man, I'm not going to lie to you guys. At that punt, I was feeling pretty damn nervous. But to see Corey step up, you guys, this is a guy who's getting a lot of crap from the fan base for a long time. And again, I want to get a t-shirt. You know, where's Corey Forman on the back? But I want him to show him picking it. He picked that thing off like a receiver, man. He didn't wait for it. He got out there. He caught it with fingertips. So well done, young Corey Forman. I'm really happy for that guy tonight.
Oh, yeah. No, I thought he really did. Guys, we're not. This is not a whining night. Tim? What did you think about the coming out of the second half? I mean, I think we showed it again that this is a second half, a team that goes into halftime, makes adjustments, and gets the job done.
Yeah, there was definitely different energy. I think this team knew going in that they really towards the end of that half lucked out. You know, the way they played in the first half, they easily could have been down by 2 or 3 scores. And the way it unraveled, the fact that we had bad DTR, right? We had 2019 DTR show up for a little while there and start fumbling the ball and throwing interceptions. That really helped SC at the end of that half to get back in this thing.
We did, although he got the lucky DTR at the end of the game, or the fourth quarter, when he had that fumble that just happened to bounce right in his foot path.
Yeah, but the pass rush, you know, the pass rush was good. You know, contain. I mean, you really can't contain that guy. You just got to try to slow him down. And overall, I mean, he had a couple big pickups, but overall, you know, it's not like he crushed us. The run game, I thought I was terrified about. They got their yards. They ate, right? They rushed for almost 200 yards. But it was the way they rushed for the yards. A lot of it was, you know, on scrambles on Rob, you know, DTR had 75 yards. One of those was like a big 26-yard scamper, then another 20-yard scamper. Half his yards came on 2 plays. So yes, they did rush for 200 yards, but not like they lined up and ran down our throat, which is what, again, I was kind of fearing they might do. And a lot of their 500 yards they picked up was really late in the game. I mean, I thought, you know, through the third quarter, USC, we won that third quarter. And and turn the game around. So dying to hear from you guys. Come on, Trojan fans, out there.
We put the link in the chat. Oh, well, Tim, you want to put it in again? I just put it in.
Sure, no problem. So you guys just get in here and talk to us.
Well, and I'll tell you what. I mean, think about DTR. He's gonna. I mean, he was great. He played really great, and we're gonna be really proud of him in the Holiday Bowl.
Yeah,
maybe he'll actually get to play in it this year. Isn't he overdue for a Holiday Bowl?
Well, they might back out to the last minute like they did last year. So who knows?
Yeah, assuming they don't cancel again and come home.
We'll see what the Bruins do this time. We'll see if they actually play the game and not chicken out the last minute.
Who knows what the Bruins will do? You know, wouldn't it be great if they got North Carolina State again somehow? That would actually be a riot. Yeah, actually, Steve, you know who I'm giving the game ball to? Steve says give the game ball to head coach and Bone. I agree, but I'm giving another one to Dr. Folt. You guys, tonight is on Dr. Folt. What an amazing! We are 10-1. I mean, you want to talk about somebody who came in and turned around a program. Dr. Folt and Mike Bone, Lincoln Riley, and the entire team. I mean, that team is like, I mean, Coach Hansen is phenomenal, but just as important to our team is Coach Hansen's wife, Annie, who runs our recruiting. Like, and I mean, what they're doing coming up, I mean, our defensive holes, some of them are going to be plugged real fast by Tackett Curtis, who just had another amazing night in Louisiana. So it's going to be something else. Robert, I agree with you talking about we made an adjustment by running the ball. We did. We looked strong. We ran the ball, and I think that opened it up for us to be able to throw again.
Yeah, and then the way they ran the ball. I mean, I just love this run game too. I mean, they did a good job of illustrating that GT pull that they do, the counter that Riley has made famous at Oklahoma. And just, I mean, there was one play that wasn't on the GT pull, but I saw Haskins at least 10 yards down the field blocking. I mean, what you brought up Hansen, the offensive line coach. What a great, I mean, we steal this guy from Texas A&M. I'm sure I bet she's really glad he jumped ship for that. And his impact on this offensive line is just amazing. But I am definitely with Steve, man. This goes to Bone, right? And
it goes to Bone. But I'm also with Trojan John. Just give Riley another $100 million.
Yeah, I'm really just still processing this damn game. Watching it unfold, it was like it was just up and downs right throughout the whole game, and we knew it was going to be a shootout. And man, you got Klatt trying to put the bad juju on us about, if they punt, whoever punts loses, and he kind of started getting on my head. But when somebody in the Discord said, "Don't worry, Tim, DTR's got one more turnover in him." Sure enough, couple plays later.
Okay, I couldn't handle the Discord.
It was freaking hilarious.
I couldn't be around that many Ducks and like Ohio State people. I had to turn it off. By the way, if you guys are wondering what we're talking about the Mark Rogers Voice of College Football Patreon community Discord. It's like $5 a month. It's absolutely amazing. So many fun folks on there. They chat and yap and all that. And it's really, really a great group. But when we're down, I can't handle some of them.
I think it was Dustin. Is it Dustin amazing? Dustin amazing blue guy?
It's Ben.
Ben? Oh, yeah, Ben.
Amazing blue.
Okay, so he's the one to call it. Well done, Ben. Good call on that one, because it was literally seconds later he threw that interception. That was just awesome, man.
Oh, it was
Dr. And Bone. Thank you very much for turning this dumpster fire around in one season. Last year, this time, you guys were looking down the barrel of a 60+ points for the little baby Bruins, putting up on a very historically bad.
He signed a hat mid-game,
just embarrassing us. And here we are a year later.
In fact, it's on the hat that he signed. It's so embarrassing that we can't deny it. We have to own it. It's in our victory edit right there.
Yeah, but that kid has lost his USC fandom for the rest of life. Yeah, that guy just needs to. If I ever see that kid in the stands, I'm gonna kick him out myself. But you really have to.
The kid's kind of cool. And actually, while DTR screwed him for signing the hat, it does say something, I think, about the uniqueness of the USC UCLA rivalry, that a kid is a huge USC fan, but did also like DTR. So we cut the kid a little slack.
You can't sell me on that one, Tony. Sorry.
Sorry. I tried. But, I forgive you. I forgive you.
I think you're waking up.
Tonight. Game, give us a buzz, guys. Call and tell us what you guys think of the game. You're all celebrating. There are drinks up in the air. And by the way, special thanks to Gixxer Squid, who is texting me pictures live from the stadium. That was a lot of fun. That was awesome. I'm so jealous. I'm down here in Florida, so I'm so jealous you guys got to go. I got to feel superior while watching my friends in the Midwest today because I was at the pool this morning. But in LA, we all have pools all the time.
Well, there's a lot of
guys,
stuff.
We've got not only we have our first caller, we've got the enemy of the state for next week. Folks, welcome Will ND. First of all, Will, congrats to the Irish, who looked great against Boston College in a little bit of a scrimmage. Now, for everybody watching, we are co-hosting tomorrow night next week, a joint USC Notre Dame post game with Will here. Will, what'd you think of your opponents for the next week?
Man, I gotta admit, I'm licking my chops a bit from that Alex Grinch performance. Caleb looked great. But I definitely think there's some holes in that defensive line that UCLA showed that we can be successful against. But it'll be a great game next week.
If only you had Brady Quinn instead of Drew Pine.
Well, okay, Clemson couldn't stop our run, and our run was the only thing that worked. So if
I know,
Clemson can't stop our run, then USC.
But Stanford did. Stanford did.
You guys have a good line, but you don't have a DTR, you don't have a Bobo, and you definitely do not have a Charbonnet. So I'm going to tell you right now, I'm feeling really good on this win. I think that Notre Dame looked really good tonight, but I'm thinking that we're going to have Gentry back at full steam next week, and I can't wait to see that little leprechaun try to throw over him. What do you think?
Well, Gentry is good, but you guys couldn't stop Dalton Kincaid. How are you guys going to stop Michael Mayer? Like,
we don't have to. We just have to stop Drew Pine and get him the ball.
Yeah, because Drew Pine's the quarterback. That's how we're going to stop him.
All right.
So, yeah.
Hey, but serious, another serious note, I really quick, I just want to say to Notre Dame fan, because we have a lot of Notre Dame fans who watch the show. Congrats to you guys, because your season had gone off the rails and you guys got it back together. And that's actually pretty awesome for Notre Dame.
And so thank you for keeping Notre Dame. Thank you for keeping together, because we're going to need that quality win in order to get ourselves into the thing, because Tennessee just gave up 63 points and made Spencer Rattler look like Dan Marino out there. So it's going to be really fun to see where all the movement is. And I got to be honest, all the Michigan and Ohio State fans, guys didn't look very good against some pretty mediocre teams, needing last minute field goals and things in order to win. Same thing with TCU. It's going to be really interesting to see the arguments in that playoff room where that committee is trying to figure out who's where and what, because, besides Georgia, that top of the table didn't look too good this weekend.
Mm-hmm. All right, Dale. We'll see, Dale. We'll see. I'm feeling good. After watching our teams today. But
well, I'll tell you what. I think Tennessee. Somebody told me today. They said the problem for Tennessee and TCU is that they're Cinderella, and it's 5:30 in the morning, and they're at the post party after the ball, and they're all out of magic pixie dust or whatever else pixie dust you have, and they're going to find some problems. TCU squeaked it by miraculously today. I don't think they win 2 more games. And Tennessee's gone down. So USC is in the driver's seat. This is absolutely going to be surreal for the Trojans if we can make it happen. Who would have thought? So yeah, guys, give us a buzz. Tell us what you guys think. Who was at the game? If you're in the chat, even if you can't chat right now because you're in the Arroyo Seco dancing to Tusk, just tell us who was there. Tell us who was there in the chat. Trojan John, one word.
All right. I know, but hey, that doesn't matter once the game kicks off in the Coliseum Saturday night.
Will, your only other answer to that is one word: Clemson.
Yeah.
I would say North Carolina, but they didn't look too good tonight over Georgia Tech. North Carolina, that was another Cinderella team.
Mm-hmm. I was right there with you. Bless them breaks. Trust me. Oh my God. This one was painful, but we got it. We got the win.
We got it. What a fun night for the students too. I can't wait to hear what Josh Pate thought being there. Yeah.
By the way, speaking of students, we got to see the UCLA class of always with the FSC chant that you got to hear on national television. So well done, Bruins. Well done. Yeah. Way to bring that class.
Classy, Bruins. Classy. Well, and I heard they were chanting something about trust funds to the band, which
I'm surprised they know what a trust fund is, Tony.
Oh, there's plenty of them live in Pacific Palisades. They know. I laughed, guys, because USC and UCLA have we have these stupid stereotypes, but we're like pretty similar in a lot of ways. We're better, but went out and we're in. Ohio State and Michigan looked very true, Roger Dodger. Ohio State and Michigan did both look fairly pedestrian, although Michigan was without quorum, so he would certainly be healed before we get them. And I was just talking to a good friend of mine who's a devout awesome Michigan alum, And of course, the great thing is if we can somehow get Michigan, guys, you know how we're cursed going to Corvallis and Washington is cursed when they go to Arizona State? Well, Michigan is cursed when they play us in the postseason. So if we can somehow get Michigan in the playoffs or Ohio State in the playoffs, we could be golden. Trojan John, Notre Dame is USC's real rival. Hey, we can say that now with the victory bell being home, can't we?
So, Will, what do you think? What do you think of Caleb Williams, 32 of 43, 470, 2 touchdown, 1 interception night? Where do you think that puts him? I'm sure you watched most of the games. Where does that place him in the Heisman race in your opinion?
I have no idea who's going to win the Heisman, but Caleb's got a better chance than anyone in the country right now.
Does he have almost as good a chance, Will, do you think, as Drew Pine?
Better than Drew.
All right, guys. You just got a ringing endorsement now from Will ND.
But I got to admit, though, what if UCLA done better with Drew Pine? Because what was DTR's decision-making? Like, what was he thinking?
The thing is that guy can move. There were so many times we had him in the backfield, and he turns it into a first down.
He had a beautiful play where he ducked under, it looked like 2 linemen, scooted out to the right and picked up the first down. It was about the nicest thing I can say about a Bruin. Just it was an amazing move to duck out of all that traffic. I mean, he's been doing that all year long. He's like the poor man's Caleb. He does a pretty good job, you know.
Poor man's.
Oh, that's really cool. Gixer says, prior to the game and after the national anthem, the stadium held a moment of silence in remembrance of the Virginia players. That's really awesome. And especially awesome for Bobby Haskins, I hope.
Yeah. So here comes the absolute garbage from the Buckeye fans.
Oh, we're just timing them out. We're just timing them out. Tonight is not a night for nonsense.
Really? Holding on every play?
Yeah, and this is the USC channel. We're not on Mark's main channel, so we can just time those people out.
I can't remember. Was it the Ohio State game or I think it was the Michigan game that there was a holding call, but it was a very fortuitous holding call, which backed up the Illini when they were looking to get another first down. But yeah, holding happens, Ian, but it doesn't happen every play. I would now put USC's offensive line up with a lot of other. It's been a weak point for USC probably since 2016. But again, the job that we start from the top, what Bone did for the athletic department, what Folt did to get Bone, what Bone did in order to get this staff together and this football team, and what Hanson's done to get the offensive line together is truly amazing.
With Dr. Folt and Mrs. Johnson, if you guys don't know, the USC Board of Trustees is run by a lady named Suzanne Nora Johnson, who is one of the most amazing women I've ever met. I can tell you guys a story about her sometime. Phenomenal lady. She found the money for us to do it. Oh, we've got Eddie Reyna. Eddie, what'd you think of the game?
Yeah, it was. You got to love this team. I mean, the way they play. I've compared them a few times to a Mexican boxer or the Diaz brothers. You know, they almost. They're one of those guys who just likes to get punched, gets bloodied up a little bit to wake up. And I'm telling you, I know you got this Notre Dame fan on, and you know he seems like a nice enough guy, but Tooley is going to eat Notre Dame up for lunch. You know how many sacks this defense is going to get with a quarterback who runs a 5.2? Tooley might as well just give Tooley a first-round draft ticket right now. Notre Dame's going to make him look like the greatest defensive lineman in the history of USC football.
I think he's probably looking at his chops right now. Yeah, Eddie.
Oh, there was 4 or 5 sacks there that DTR escaped from because
you're not going to sack DTR because you're not going to get to him. Have you seen our offensive line this year, man? Like, I know USC has a good D line, but
I saw them against Cal. I saw them against Stanford.
Did you see them against Clemson, the most talented D line in the country?
I saw them against Cal.
They couldn't touch Drew.
I don't know. The ACC seems to me like an FCS conference this year. I would take Montana State over anybody in the ACC right now.
No, it's gonna be ugly. I mean, Notre Dame will probably
score. You can say that, man, but I'm pretty confident in my boys.
Yeah,
I don't think you're touching Drew Pine. I don't think you're getting this.
Let's let each other talk. Hold on, Will.
Sorry.
I'm sure. If he's such a great quarterback, why wasn't he starting at the beginning of the year? I mean, who's his backup? Because he's gonna get hurt.
He's not a great quarterback, but he's gonna get protected by the offensive line. But Stephen Jelly is the backup, and he hasn't really gotten a sniff.
I think what USC's shown, and I think in all seriousness was going to be an issue for Notre Dame, is when USC wants to stop a running back, they'll stop a running back. USC stopped Utah's running back. They stopped UCLA's running back. Two really good running backs, two really good running games. The difference in those two games, other than the refs, screwing over the team, the difference is they had quarterbacks that were more mobile and can make moves and wiggle out of defenses. Notre Dame doesn't have that. Oregon, I don't think Oregon's going to win today. And there's something you guys can talk about on Wednesday. They're not going to beat Oregon State. They're not beating Oregon State. The whole thing's, I don't know if that means that USC is going to play Washington, but it's going to be some more craziness next week. Because I don't see them having the grit to be able to go into that artificially enhanced environment and be able to deal with all that noise.
Yeah, I think that they have their hands full. I'm a bit, man, I'll tell you what, stock's dropping for me. It's Cam Rising. I've been kind of keeping an eye in the corner, watching Rising play tonight, and man, he's missing a lot of throws. I'm looking at the stats. They've been held 134 yards, Utah, against a really bad Oregon defense. I'm pretty shocked how any offense can be held to under 150 yards against that Oregon defense.
Well, I don't think he's been healthy since the USC game. I think he's been hobbled, and that's the thing. USC, they're undersized. They make a lot of mistakes, but they hit you, and they hit you hard, and you're going to feel it. Again, it's an amazing team. This isn't a perfect team. They might not even be a great team, but this is my favorite USC team since 2004 team. And I played high school football with Matt Leinart, so I like that team a lot just because I know Matt. But
you went to Mater Dei?
You're a Monarch, huh?
Yeah, I went to Mater Dei.
I didn't know that.
Nice.
Oh yeah. I was a fourth string free safety right behind Matt Grittygood and a few other guys. Played was all intramural for Sigma Pi at Cal State Fullerton. So pretty good college career.
That's awesome.
No, but yeah, I mean, this is my favorite USC team in forever because they're not better, right? They're not better than everybody else. And that they're gritty in a different way than like an Iowa who's going to bore you to death, or a team like Notre Dame that just has linemen, like fat ankled linemen who can't run down the field. This is a team that's gritty in a way that's gritty like a 155-pound boxer. Just going to go in there and just smack people around, won't stop, just keep on throwing punches. And I'm really excited to see what USC does in the Big Ten. These fat ankle Midwest teams, they're not going to be able to hang out with the speed. I've seen all there's two teams in the Big Ten with speed. Everybody else is slow. Nobody in the Midwest can run with this team. If USC was in the Big Ten West, they'd be undefeated right now. I mean, it's this.
But so would Mater Dei.
Well, yeah.
Mater Dei would be undefeated in the Big Ten West right now.
Hey, so really quickly, I know you would know this, Eddie. What was the pitch count for Gentry tonight? I saw him in there. I saw 18 in there, but then he wasn't there very much. Was he in there for one series, much more than a series or two? Did you know? I know of all people, you would know how many plays he was in.
I heard some people on who are on the sideline say that he was limping a little bit during warmups. So
he definitely got in.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's probably on the Addison treatment. We'll let him play a little bit and then see how he does next week. I mean, next week against Notre Dame at the Coliseum, I mean, I don't care what you have to inject in his ankle. He's going to play.
Yeah, I'm sure he will. Amazing.
By the way, one of my best friends from high school just texted me from Michigan saying, "I will not stand for this big slander." We're only slandering the Big Ten West. which we're part of now. We're part of it.
Good.
It's us. It's us. We are the. In fact, I consider this, guys. This tonight was the Big Ten West Championship in exile.
Yeah, Notre Dame is part of the West too. They're thick-ankled guys who can't run too fast, so they're included.
I'm interested in the chat, you guys. In the chat, you guys, if you could give me your top 3 Heisman, who do you think are top 3 in the Heisman? Because again, I think this game puts Caleb at the front, in my opinion. Curious to hear what you guys, considering the play of the other guys who are up at top. Corum's hurt, right? Didn't he get hurt? I think he got hurt, so he probably didn't put that much numbers. It's hard.
We lost Eddie. Anyway. Eddie, thank you for calling. Feel free to call back anytime, always. Yeah, who do you guys think is your top 3 for Heisman? And by the way, to our Irish fans, we got D-Rock Irish, we got Will here, we got a couple of you guys in the chat. Next week's Notre Dame USC game, we're still sort of basking in this, but let's look ahead to the fact that this is going to be an awesome game. This is another classic USC Notre Dame game. The tradition is back, guys, and I think it's really exciting.
Beginning of a new era, the Freeman and Riley eras. I'm so excited for this game.
Freeman and Riley. This could really be like Era and McKay.
Hopefully more winning, but yeah.
Hopefully more. No, hopefully not more winning. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I mean this is good. This is gonna be something pretty awesome because he's got them rolling. I mean, they looked good. Top 3, 1 Caleb, 2 Caleb, everyone else.
I think CJ Stroud could steal it from Caleb, but is anyone else? I don't know.
Well, thankfully, I mean, Hendon Hooker down. I mean, the glory of the SEC is no. They got the Wisconsin treatment of jump up, and sit down.
Yeah.
Because, guys, and by the way, to everybody, South Carolina is a bad team. Do not let the SEC propaganda machine say a good word about South Carolina or, I mean, Vandy won again today.
Vandy.
Yeah. And did you guys see the Vandy students charging the field politely coming down the stairs?
It was so cute.
It was. It looked like a kid's fire drill.
I love how Darrell, as soon as he called in, he's like, Mark, Vanderbilt's a good team, Mark. Vanderbilt's a good team.
All right. Hey, guys, we got David Knight joining us.
What's up, David?
David, welcome.
Yeah, let's even things up.
Fight on. What did you think of that game tonight?
Hey, let me say one thing. I want to congratulate USC and all their fans. It's a great win. And the game was highly competitive. And for me, living in Indianapolis, we don't get to see a lot of your games. But to be able to see this, it was an absolutely fantastic game. And I agree about Caleb Williams. Man, that guy played lights out. And you guys were talking about the Heisman. Right now, I probably would hand it over to him.
We like your style. And hey, join us real quick just because we're adding everybody because we're having fun tonight. We've got DMACC with us as well. DMACC, welcome to the show.
Hey, guys, fight on. Good day to be a Trojan.
It's a great day to be a Trojan. They're all great days to be a Trojan, but it's a really great one especially.
Yeah, man, this team wins because they fight on. And this is one of the great SC teams. I mean, I was around obviously for the Carroll days and everything, and we're not there yet. There's no doubt about it. But from game to game, there are baby steps again and again and again. And tonight was huge, I think, on, all 3 sides. The squib kicks, yeah, maybe we need to hire a special teams coordinator or something. I mean, what's going on?
I don't know. Maybe we can just
or the pooch. Sorry, I mean,
yeah. Eddie, is your Sigma Pi team? Do they have a special teams coordinator we could borrow? Maybe Modern Day. We'll get one from Modern Day.
Celebrating.
I like it. I like it. Yeah, we could use a little special teams coordinator. Yeah, 500 yards passing. What a night! And I mean, I'll tell you guys, and we saw in the Colorado game, which we saw DTR get hurt. One of the things that I thought was reassuring was Miller just killed it when he came in as well. So we do have a little bit of depth because I'm always, I like the number 7.
There we go.
He's getting ready.
Some in-hope love there. I'll take it.
I was hoping to see him tonight. That was my goal for this game. I want to see Miller Moss.
You know, DMACC, I love this. I love this offense, but I'm gonna need to see like an 03, 04, 08 defense before start calling them one of the best ever. So we got a long ways to go on our defense, but
yeah,
man, I do see. But here's the thing: this defense, although it gives us heart attacks, and it gives that long, like teams just seem to find that gap between the linebackers and the secondary. That was there all night. The 2 or 3 times that middle of the field was wide open for big plays, but this team attacks, man. And I really do like the way we were the backfield. We had that stretch where we must have like at least 4 tackles for loss on one drive. They were able to pick up first downs, but we were all over them. And I just want to see them string it together a little bit more. I'm really intrigued. So I want to see like who we're bringing in. You guys, we're going to the conference championship game. Can we believe that crap? We went from being an 8-4 laughing stock to
no. A 4-8 laughing stock.
Vegas. And what we're going to have, what we're forgetting about now is, and we got to stay focused on them right now and enjoy these games. But can you imagine in the off season, they're going to have, I don't know, 11, 12 wins possibly at the end of this season. Do you know what that's going to do for recruiting and for, they better start I'll tell you what, all the coaches out there better start hiding their recruits and their commits, because we're coming for you guys. You know, a lot of the guys that kept these recruits, and they're kind of wondering, you know, how is this going to work? There's a lot of trash talking about Grinch, a lot of trash talking about, you know, is it really a good fit for them out there on West Coast? Well, I think it was more than a great fit. And so when we win these games, we've all seen when USC wins 10 games or more, go ahead and get ready for our recruiting classes.
It's going to be amazing.
And doesn't the transfer portal open up again in about a little less than 2 weeks? I mean, they're
all going to want to come.
In 10 days, people who want some postseason play.
Exactly. I mean, and the other thing, guys, and I'll tell you something that also doesn't get enough credit. One thing Lincoln Riley's talked about coming from Oklahoma to USC is how much easier it is to recruit at USC. I mean, because of all the things we think about, but also, I don't know if you guys know this, particularly some of our older fans, but USC is now the number 5 ranked academic school in all of FBS. If you average the academic rankings, the only schools ranked higher than us are Stanford, Duke, Northwestern, and Vanderbilt. And so, like, as far as recruiting parents, you know, when they try, Lincoln Riley said when he goes to parents, he's like, "Your kids should come to USC." The parents are like, "Yes, please." He said it's looking in Oklahoma. Sorry, what'd you say, Tim?
Well, I'm just saying, we're. The way that we're producing, we've been having trouble, but our 2 line coaches are really showing out. I mean, what Nua's done with Tuiopulotu is just, I mean, he was already a player. We knew he's young, he was going to flash, and he was, you know, he's in the backfield as much as their running backs, right? But what he's done, he's going to be able to point, hey, look at the film on this kid. Look what we've been doing. Turned him into an absolute All-American, you know? So, who's like a 3-star, I think. I don't think Thule was much more than, I can't remember. I can look it up. But I mean, he wasn't that highly touted. I correct me in the chat if I'm wrong. And so to make Thule into this guy is just amazing, you know, for a guy that big, that quickness. He's just a disruption and a disruptor. And it showed again tonight. So what they've been able to do on the defensive line, Nua, and what Hanson's been able to do on the offensive line, and then 10 wins. Boys, it's looking really good. It's looking really, really good.
And what Mrs. Hanson's doing in recruiting.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys. Just a real quickie. On your 2023 recruiting class, you got 2 5-stars, which is great. You have 8 4-stars and 10 3-stars. But I think Tim and I have talked about this a little bit, and you guys all chime in. Like, is for USC, is this really about filling the gaps that you feel that you need to fill versus, say, just gathering top talent? Because every team from year to year, you know, you're going to lose some key players, and there may be a positional group that's, you know, weaker than the rest. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, you're talking about Nelson. So think about it this way, guys. It's who knows who the number 1 quarterback is? My money's still on Malachi Nelson. But then guess what Riley's getting? He's getting that. But not only he's also getting the top 2 receivers in the country in Zachariah Branch. And Mekhi Lemon's a 4-star. That dude's a 5-star. He's just amazing.
He's amazing.
So it just gets nasty. And then we got another big back. Peterson, who's 6 foot, 200 pounds. It's just gross. I mean, we watched this year. We lost our top 2 receivers, and then we're still putting up 500 yards in offense. I'm granted against some bad defenses, but we are just going to get filthy deep on offense, and I do think the defense is going to fill in as well.
Okay, cool. That was my question.
That was kind of I wanted to get more specific, and in particular on defense. For Tony and Tim, like what, with this transfer portal coming up, what positions do we need to fill on D this season?
All of them. It's fine.
Oh, damn.
We need a number 55.
Let me rephrase that. I think we need to stock up across the board. How about that?
We really need help on our interior defensive line. I think that's something. I don't think Peely's gone after this year. But if you look at the teams that are really nasty on defense, they have a difference maker right there in the middle. And I think that's where maybe if I had one place to look at on our defense where I would really like to see it filled would be on our interior defensive line.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you think about the Chris Claiborne days, and I mean, anyone wearing number 55, right? That's the kind of person we need. And Tuli's, I mean, he's dang close.
Richard Wood.
Yeah. By the way, I kind of think they should. Guys, I kind of think they should give Tuli 55 for next week.
Maybe.
Well, we got Tackett Curtis coming in. I've heard a lot of good things.
Maybe just give Tackett 55.
Yeah, Ryan's 247 site. They all talk highly of Tackett Curtis, the linebacker from Louisiana. So I'm really, he's a top 100 player. And
he's also supposed to be a great guy. He's really smart and just really supposed to be a good dude.
And the best part is I think he's going to be able to hit like a freight train. So I like the fact he looks like he's 6'2", 218. He's going to be able to pack on at least another 20 pounds onto that frame and just be a force in the middle. So I'm really excited there. And then Braylon Shelby.
Oh no, Paul K. By the way, I was trying to send you a emoji and I accidentally timed you out. I'm sorry, Paul. Paul, forgive me. That was my bad. I did not mean to do that. I was trying to send you an emoji. Sorry, Paul. Paul, stay with us. Sorry, guys. Sorry, Tim. Go ahead. I had to apologize before Paul got mad at us.
Yeah, Paul said I bought 49.
Yeah, I know, Tim. I was trying to send you a little trophy emoji, and I accidentally, my computer was freezing up, and it clicked to time you out. I'm so sorry. It's my bad.
Don't change it.
Don't change it. Keep your jersey. We're keeping him at 55 just for you.
Yeah, Darren Barlow.
Pretend I sent you a trophy emoji because that's what I was trying to do.
Darren Barlow really had his opportunity tonight. I don't know if I talked about it earlier in the show. I know I was talking to people in chat during the game, but it is a guy who got up and he transferred over from TCU, buried on the depth chart because we've got some great running backs. But he comes in that game on that drive. I did talk about it. On that drive, he just kind of took over that drive and just ran like a bowling ball, man. He was bouncing off people, getting extra yards, bouncing outside. I think that we can't understate how much this team's going to miss Travis Dye. But if we're going to lose guys, I want to lose them at running back and at wide receiver because we've shown that we're deep in both positions. I don't want to see it happen at left tackle, right, or the interior defensive line. These are positions where we probably can't afford. But there we have dudes on this roster, and it showed tonight, and it showed all season.
The keys to the game, I think that we talked about last week. And I said, was getting turnovers, right? Winning the turnover battle was, the obvious football stuff, score more points, of course, but, win that turnover battle and for Caleb to start checking it down and taking what's there and to spread it around and use all those offensive weapons. And you see, it's terrible losing Guy. I mean, it's just such a great guy. And he contributed so much to the culture that, that's going to live on past him, like building that culture this year and everything we're talking about with recruiting and everything because of it, a lot of that is on his shoulders. And that's a huge thanks to him. But in losing him, we brought back all those offensive weapons. That offense looked more like we did in those first couple games of the season that I was talking about last week and saying, spread it around, get it out, but hey, credit to the offensive line too, big time. Geez, Caleb just had all the time in the world, but he made the right decisions this time instead of forcing and losing and dropping and, bad percentage shots and all that. It was a shootout, I think, to a certain extent, as we all predicted. I really wanted SC to get to 60 so we could put that on DTR's tiers. But,
that would have been nice. Next year.
Yeah, we covered the spread, right? I mean, we did everything we're supposed to do.
Oh, we did cover this. Yeah, because what was the spread? 2.5?
The spread. It was 2.5 or 2, depending on where you were betting, and we beat them by 3. So
I'll be honest,
baby.
After last night's performances, I thought that both teams might outscore their basketball teams. And there was about in the third quarter, I was thinking this was going to happen, that we were going to outscore both basketball teams.
Well, tight end delay said that he runs a lot like Lendale White. Well, he's not quite as heavy. I think Lendale was maybe closer to 240 towards the end there, but he is a legit 211, probably closer to 215 range now. 6-foot guy, so he's a load, and it was, again, for a guy that big to move like that, it is a lot very similar to a guy like Lendale White, who was just a powerful guy. I'll never forget those stiff arms that White would drive people right into the ground, like one after another. But also had that burst to get away. And I think Barlow has a lot of that as well. So good call.
People talking bad about Grinch in the chat and stuff. And I said, guys, patience. Give the guy his own recruiting class.
Yeah.
Freshmen aren't going to do it for you, right? I mean, we know some school in Texas that got, the best class and see how they're doing, right? And I expect they'll be better next year, even after we take a bunch of their transfers.
I think we're going to do that.
But
we're going to get a few of them.
I do like what you should
stop Charbonnet today, right?
Yeah, under 100 yards. I think that was their goal, right? That's what they're looking at, DMACC, right? That was probably their goal. We're going to keep that. That dude's not going to beat us on the ground. And guess what? That dude didn't beat us on the ground. I think you're right. We gave a lot of yards through the air because of it, but they were set to stop him, and they did a lot. Again, a lot of their yards was, if DTR is not rushing for 75 yards, then they're probably not getting close to 200 yards. It was an impressive effort. There were some opportunities out there, right? We all have to admit there's some missed tackles and opportunities out there that probably could have made those numbers a lot better. But overall, the defense played well. Again, well enough to win. Those 3 turnovers were the difference in the game, right?
Fumble, interceptions. Come on, yeah.
Was it 3 or 4?
Yeah.
All right, guys.
I think it was 4 because I thought we had 3.
I'm gonna jump out, you guys, but I'll continue.
Oh, hey, David, thank you for joining us. It was great to have you. And guys, we've just been joined by the master himself, Matt Zemek from Trojan's Wire. Matt, the victory bell has come home. Actually, I think it comes home on Tuesday. Usually is what they do, but close enough. The victory bell's coming home. What'd you think of tonight?
Yeah, and thank you for joining us, Matt.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm going to be up until 3 a.m. I know, and it's a great thing. Trojan's Wire is probably going to have its best month ever now, and of course we now get a 13th game to play in the Pac-12 championship game Friday, December 2nd. So that's a really great thing too. The most surprising thing, not the score, not the up and down video game nature of this contest, like that was to be expected. Like I said on Mark Rogers' show on Monday, hey, the over under 76.5. Like what? Hello? Like, that was just absurdly low. And, it was going to be a matter of just scoring as many points as possible. And USC, a lot like the Arizona game, scored, fairly well, but still left a good 14, 17, even 20 points on the field. Could have scored in the low 60s if it had been more airtight. But, like 48, you're certainly in the game if you do that much. And this is where what we saw in the first half of the season, not in terms of overall quality, but getting takeaways. That was the theme of the first 6 weeks of the season. Alex Grinch's defense being able to get the big takeaway. And so, like, that's part of a good defense. I mean, obviously, the overall performance wasn't very good, and it wasn't expected to be. And Eric Gentry made a brief appearance, but like he wasn't fully right. And so without Gentry being able to be full strength, I figured that was going to matter against UCLA, and it did matter. So like no surprises. But as Tim and Tony, as you've been saying, takeaways were the difference that got back into the mix and not a moment too soon. So, it's just a reality that USC's margins are going to be small against really good teams with really good offenses. It was the case against Utah. Came one play away from winning, didn't make it. Tonight, have one play to make, did make it. I mean, it's really just living on the other side of those margins, the very fine line. And, there is a sweet kind of poetry here that, as brutal as it felt in the immediate aftermath of the Utah loss, if you're going to say, hey, you got to lose one and you got to win one, you would rather beat UCLA than Utah. You would
every day and twice on Sunday.
You'd rather get this game. So, the pendulum just has a way of swinging back and forth. The laws of averages have a way of evening out, because it wasn't a perfect performance by any means. It was very sloppy, and USC needs a special teams coordinator. Like, I think I was on the fence in terms of, do you need to use one of your 10 on-field assistant coach positions for special teams, because you might be able to use that to coach defense better. You might be able to use that to coach the corners better, and maybe send Dante Williams packing. Actually, you might still do that, but now you replace Dante Williams with a special teams coordinator. I think that is clearly the move to make with this coaching staff for 2023. I
have a better idea. Let's just turn our legal resources to sue the NCAA, who's completely neutered anyway, and get rid of those limits on coaches. We'll just fix it that way.
That works.
Hey, real quick, Matt, Eddie Chase, and I kind of disagree with this. Grinch has improved defenses everywhere he's been. He improved them like crazy at Washington State. He improved them like crazy at Oklahoma. They were awful before he got there, and they got to be decent. And I think it's improved him with us. Matt, what do you think?
Well, he has improved. And see, that is the tricky thing with Alex Grinch, is that with the exception of 2021 at Oklahoma, like going into the 2021 season at Oklahoma, it was felt by OU insiders. This was part of what I learned on the Riley files. The 2021 Oklahoma defense was supposed to be very, very good, and it wasn't. But that is the only season since Alex Grinch joined Lincoln Riley at OU a few years ago. That's the only season in which Alex Grinch really, I think, underperformed overall as a defensive coordinator, because in 2020, Oklahoma's defense carried that team to Lincoln Riley's fourth Big 12 championship at Oklahoma. In 2019, he was inheriting the mess left behind by Mike Stoops, who got fired in 2018. You really couldn't say that Grinch was primarily responsible for that. He was, inheriting a mess, much as he inherited what Todd Orlando and Dante Williams left behind this year at USC. So you really only have, from the past 4 years, Tony, you really only have 2021 Oklahoma as a year when Alex Grinch really did fall below the expected standard. But, through 11 games this season and what he did against Oregon State and Washington State and getting these guys to make big takeaways, he has overperformed. Obviously, he was overperforming by a large degree through the first 6 games, and then the next 4 games happened. That whittled it down. But still, going into this UCLA game, as a 10-game body of work with USC at 9-1, he still was above expectations, just not to the degree that he was through the first 6 games. So you really do have, overall, in the bigger picture, Grinch doing better than what a lot of people feared and what a lot of people worried about. So the bigger thing with Alex Grinch, and this gets to the heart of your question, Tony, is that, with the exception of 2021 Oklahoma, he has never had rock star defensive talent, because he's been asked to clean up Lincoln Riley's mess. Lincoln said, hey, I have this imperfect situation. Can you make it tolerably good? That's been the request that Lincoln Riley has generally made of Alex Grinch, and it definitely applies to this season. So we're still waiting for that year, that season, when we go into opening day, opening week, and Alex Grinch has bona fide rock star elite defensive talent. We haven't seen that scenario yet. And so that's really the next horizon for Alex Grinch as a defensive coach. Can he get his hands on top shelf talent with depth, with, all the trimmings as we head into Thanksgiving week? Will he have the full meal, the full 7-course meal to work with on defense? And if he inherits that kind of a defense going into a season, and then we get these kinds of results, then you can say, you know what, he just doesn't make the cut. But we haven't gotten to that scenario yet. And that's the thing that USC fans have to be patient with, that we need the fully stocked cupboard. No one, everyone realized we weren't going to have that fully stocked cupboard or anything close to it this year. Give him that fully stocked cupboard, and it's probably going to take one cycle beyond 2023. It's, when USC goes to the Big Ten in 2024, that's probably when we're going to get to the point where he has, a full allotment of resources to work with. Obviously, got to work the transfer portal again, get more Shane Lees into the mix, get more Eric Gentry's into the mix. Shane Lee was huge tonight against UCLA in pass coverage. So that's the in-between nature of Alex Grinch as a coach, is that, you look at the numbers and all the touchdowns allowed and all the video game type contests, such as what we saw tonight, but he hasn't been working with a full deck. He's not working with all the resources that, like if you're Kirby Smart at Georgia, like you have full talent on hand. And Alex Grinch doesn't have that. He hasn't had anything remotely close to that. So that's the thing that USC fans have to be patient with.
And guys, because we've got so much stuff coming in, Matt, I want to take just 1 minute to plug two things. One, if you guys are not following Matt on Trojans Wire, it's the USA Today USC site. Matt does awesome coverage there. And then every Monday night, Matt hosts a show here on the Voice of College Football channel, Voice of College Football's USC channel. It's absolutely fantastic. It's Mondays at 8 p.m. Pacific time, 11 p.m. Eastern. And it's really, you guys really do a great job with it. Last week, they had Tony Siracusa from Last Word on Sports doing a joint show. And you guys were just amazing. And I kind of wished you could have, we could do, you guys were so fun watching tag team off that. Wish we could do it more often. But definitely, guys, check that out on Monday nights.
And during the week before the Pac-12 show, I'm always reading Matt's articles just to get some ideas. I promise you, Matt, I don't plagiarize you, but I'm always getting like ideas to take to the Pac-12 show. And then just now, I went and peeked over there before we had the show. He's got a great article up right now talking about how the turnaround from going from, that wretched team we had last year to just this incredible run we're enjoying right now. So, there's a lot of good writers out there. I talk all the time about some of the great podcasts. We always talk about the guys over at 247, but, Matt is also an amazing wealth of knowledge. And Matt, your articles, again, every time, I just love the way you write because, you take, I know you have a lot of history with your dad, and the program, and you really do a great job of bringing that picture. So if you're a younger viewer and you want to learn a little more about just the bigger picture of USC, Matt's a great subject. And then all of you guys like my dad are out there who are a little bit older. You got to remember a lot of this stuff as well. So it's a great place to go check out.
Yeah, we won't talk about Don Clark and we'll be fine.
Well, and guys, we just
60s on.
we just had a special offer for folks. For anybody, we have an amazing viewer who's offered to do something kind of really cool. For anybody here that's a USC fan that is on or joins Mark's Patreon, if you we'll do a raffle. If you'll just DM me on the Discord, which is Mark's Patreon server, he is going to donate. He'll send to folks for out of town. He'll send you tomorrow's LA Times with all the big USC victory stuff, just as kind of a cool thing. That's absolutely awesome. He said he wants to do it anonymously, so thank you to you so much. That's really cool of you to do. Really awesome guy. One of our folks who's always with us in the chats and on the show. Thank you for doing that. So guys, join Mark Rogers' Patreon channel. It's really, really cool. Just go on Patreon, search for Mark Rogers TV. You guys all know how to do that. We'd love to have you, and we'll post about it in there as well. But it'll be a really, really cool thing. So thank you, guys.
Matt, I got you here. I need to know now. Okay, please tell me, what does this do for Caleb Williams? I mean, I've been talking about it all night. What are these last 4 performances by Caleb Williams? What has this done to his Heisman stock?
I mean, definitely elevated it. And of course, you also have to measure him against the field. Hendon Hooker didn't have a good night. Drake May certainly eliminated himself from winning the award. I think he still probably will be a Heisman finalist in the top 4, but winning the award like that went out the window tonight. You know, when you get shut out in the second half by Georgia Tech. So now all eyes go to the Ohio State-Michigan game, and it's CJ Stroud. Table's set. You know, it's all laid out for you. Are you going to eat, or will you be eaten? And, you know, so if CJ Stroud has a, brilliant game against Michigan, it's probably his award to lose in that eventuality. But if he struggles, then it's right there for Caleb. And I know that I heard Tony at the beginning of the show saying, it's like 2002, Carson Palmer. You play well against Notre Dame in LA in prime time, everybody watching, you can get your hands on the stiff arm trophy. So it's there. The path is there for Caleb, just as the path is there for USC to the playoff. The path is there to the Rose Bowl. The path is there to a New Year's Six Bowl. This is how it's supposed to be here at USC.
And Matt, real quick question. People have been asking us in the chat, and I'm sort of been debating for myself the reasons. And I sort of have some issues with our special teams, neither here nor there. But what USC Football for Life asked, and a bunch of folks asked in the chat, what were we doing with our short kickoffs?
Yeah. I don't get this, but for Lincoln Riley historians, and if there are any traumatized Oklahoma fans in the crowd, they will remember that Lincoln Riley did a short squib style kickoff late in the second quarter of the 2018 Rose Bowl game against Georgia. Oklahoma was up 17 points. He does that weird squib kickoff. Georgia gets a field goal right before halftime. And so Georgia's down 2 scores instead of 3. And that was kind of the on-ramp for Georgia to come back in that game. So I just make note of that, that there's precedent for Lincoln Riley doing some really dumb SHIT on special teams. The other thing is,
it's okay. We're an adult channel. You can say it.
The other thing is he's making all these incredibly dumb decisions in the Rose Bowl stadium. Like, what is it about the Rose Bowl stadium that makes his brain spin sideways on special teams? It's really rather remarkable, but it just underscores, get a special teams coordinator. Like, it's clear that this, kind of committee approach isn't going to cut it. We need a real professional here. And I know that we're, tonight's focus is and should be on celebrating the win over UCLA, celebrating making the Pac-12 title game. But in terms of like a sneak peek to Notre Dame, I am terrified about the special teams mismatch. Notre Dame has a special teams coordinator, Brian Mason. Like, he's unlocked the secret sauce on how to block punts. So USC better not punt a lot.
The one time we punted, Matt,
Notre Dame's blocked like 6 punts in its last 8 games, something like that.
Yeah, and the one punt we had it looked like it almost got blocked. The one punt we did have, it almost looked like UCLA got some pressure on that punt.
So I am absolutely terrified about that. And, we're going to work with Fighting Irish Wire in our game preview. Oh, God.
Well, Matt, don't worry.
We're going to have to talk about special teams. But it underscores,
Matt, so don't worry.
You need a stone cold professional in that chair for special teams. You can't wing it the way this coaching staff has done. It's really been one of their big oversights in year one. But hey, like, maybe you were thinking, all right, we need more guys on the defensive staff. Not the worst thought process in the world, but like, we're just seeing how embarrassing this is. And gotta say, like, Dennis Lynch missing 2 field goals under 35 yards. If he doesn't do that, we're not sweating this one out in the final minutes.
No, it would have been real nice to be up 2 scores tonight.
Absolutely. We're up by 2 scores. And it's also the coaching staff chose Lynch over Alex Stadhouse. So that's a player evaluation thing. And, Lynch has missed a number of field goals under 40 yards this season. That's on the coaching staff. They whiffed because Lynch really, could have cost us this game had a DTR driven down the field at the end. So get a stone cold professional in there. And we can't put ourselves in a position to punt and have Notre Dame carve us up and get non-offensive touchdowns next week.
Well, and as D-Rock Irish talks about, Notre Dame blocked 7 punts this year. Matt, do you think that the fake fake 2-point that Will Rose ran last week with his absolutely awesome backflip that was
Backflip.
10.0. Will Rose in Hoke Pro.
No. Tony, 10-9. He didn't stick the landing. His hand went down.
Okay, 9.7. 9.7 Will Rose. Will Rose, you know what, Will Rose? I'm giving you the extra 2 points because you're in the house.
The voice of college football has become the voice of the 2024 Paris Summer Olympics.
It has. Tim may be the Soviet judge, but I'm giving him the homer points, along with Miller for DMACC. But yeah, do you think that played a role to help let Notre Dame know that if they get a little too close, they need to keep more guys on the outside? We'll pull some shenanigans as well.
Maybe it's like give them something to look at on film, but really, my thought about that. Okay, first off, cool moment for Will Rose. All right, so that is
Love
great,
Will Rose.
Wonderful. He'll never forget that. That's absolutely wonderful. But
I think he might have run a lot on Monday as well.
Why are you wasting a specialty trick play against Colorado? Come on. You keep it in the bag. You unsheath it when you might really need it. So that just on a purely tactical level. But hey, great moment for the young man. That was awesome. But if you're trying to do special things against Colorado, if we want to talk about Olympic judging, you only get a quarter of a point. You don't get the full point. It has to be deducted if you do it against Colorado.
I like it. Oh, that's if ND can even force punts. Okay.
Well,
I like it.
That's going to be pretty important. Sure. And USC will want to try to avoid that. It also means that if it's 4th and 2 at your own 45-yard line, probably going to go for it instead of punting.
Speaking of big 4th and 4, they got Ducks got the ball at the 41-yard line. Tied 17-17 end of the third quarter. So that they've come back.
17. Hold on, real quick while you're there. Will, what do you think about this comment?
I strong disagree. Brian Kelly, not a big game coach. Marcus Freeman, we've seen he's 1-1 in big games now. So definitely a much higher win percentage right now for Coach Freeman.
Does
than
that
Coach
count
Kelly.
Stanford?
Stanford was
Oh, did we lose Matt?
Yeah.
Matt, we lost you. We're sorry.
Oh.
I hope I didn't accidentally click or anything.
Well, but to be very clear, guys, I put it in the chat a couple of times. Please, if you could, there's 274 of you guys. Thank you all, by the way, for being here. But if you guys go check him out, I think Matt's work is phenomenal. And if you haven't checked him out, make sure you do. I'm gonna drop it in the chat again really quick.
Oh, Matt's back. Okay, good. I was afraid we made him mad somehow. Hey, real quick, Gixer Squid, thank you for the super chat. We really appreciate it, guys. The super chats are a huge help to the Voice of College Football program. We really, really appreciate it because it helps Mark help provide all this stuff for free to you guys. So all the Voice of College Football content, other than the Patreon chat stuff, is $5 a month, but everything else is free, and that's because you guys help make it available. I like it. RG3 equals 250 million to PU. Yeah, SC's talked about some upgrades. I know we've talked about facilities. And remember, USC's getting a massive facilities upgrade already with the 2028 Olympics. So they're building all kinds of stuff. It's going to be a mess a little bit in the meantime. I don't know if you guys have seen the awesome – they're putting a swimming pool stadium in our baseball field for a year. So I don't know if you guys have seen the diving board is at home plate, and the main pool will stretch from the pitcher's mound out into center field with 10,000 seats wrapped around it. And just around the diving well is going to be the little piece that's actually the baseball stadium as they rebuild Dato Field then after the Olympics. So it's going to be actually wild with the Olympics on campus and facilities, just as we got just a steroid shot of facilities in the 80s. We're getting some really cool stuff for the Olympics this year. I don't know if you guys noticed, the Olympic Media Village is at USC this year or in 2028. So USC will be all over the news with everybody there. Anyway, enough of the Olympics.
Well, you guys also remember, if you haven't noticed, but there's a little thing in the news the earlier part of this year that USC is going to get a big pay raise coming up in a year or so. So there'll be lots of money for facilities. I'm sure that will follow with that. So, yeah.
And the Bruins, too.
Yeah. I hope a swimming pool in the middle of our baseball field isn't a comment on our commitment to the baseball program, because we used to be able to be pretty proud of that. I mean, we still can.
Yeah.
We got it.
Well, I think actually the purpose of it, part of the purpose of it is the rebuilding of Dado Field. So it's like all the stuff around it will be rebuilt as part of that and everything. And then the pool is just temporary, because the Olympic pools nowadays they don't really build the permanent pools anymore. They're all temporary. So yeah, so we get one. The funny thing is, the old Olympic pool, which is the USC pool now, will be the warm-up pool for the Olympic pool, which is the temporary one.
Matt, how do you do
this?
Who
do we want to win this game, Utah or Oregon?
Oh, we want Utah to win this game because we want a rematch with Utah.
We want another shot at you, because I mean, if you guys think about and this is just my opinion, this is a Tony opinion. You guys may all be wrong. First of all, I think that Oregon remains stained from the Georgia experience to a lot of the country. Again, you guys know I'm on board with they've developed, they've grown, all that stuff, 100% legitimate. If we could just eliminate the Oregon stain from the Pac-12 discussion, that would help. And then for USC to have, most importantly, for USC to have a shot at Utah, if we go and beat Utah in Vegas, then there's really no debate. We've avenged our defeat. We might as well be undefeated.
And I hate this because I'm taking it for someone out there. And so whoever you are in Twitter land or whatever podcast I heard it, if SC beats Utah, then they've beaten everybody on their schedule. If you really think about it, that's a legitimate point. We beat every single team on our schedule. There's an asterisk, of course, but they beat every team. And the way we lost that game, it gives us a huge resume, I think, if they're the team we actually play.
I couldn't agree more.
I think I would say that, if you're a USC fan, yeah, you want Utah, especially since Travis Dye will not be able to play against Oregon in a possible game against the Ducks. Like if that matchup was going to happen, you would want Travis Dye on the field to stick it to Oregon and also provide some inside intel on the Ducks. But the other thing to consider in terms of the Pac-12 championship game is that Utah plays Colorado next week. Oregon plays Oregon State. Now, again, USC wants revenge for Utah. So I'm not debating that point, but just strictly in terms of winning the game, there is an argument to make for having Oregon, because Oregon is going to have a much more physical, overall holistic challenge against the Beavers than Utah will have against Colorado. And, we're coming off a USC win here against UCLA. And I told Mark Rogers this past Monday that, USC basically, I think, I don't think Lincoln Riley's said anything directly to this effect, but with Colorado being the lead-in opponent to UCLA, he really had 2 weeks to prepare for the Bruins. You're not going over Colorado game film with a fine-tooth comb. You're already installing the game plan for UCLA. You're getting your guys to think about UCLA habits, UCLA tendencies. So if we kind of carry that a few steps further and look at the Pac-12 championship game, Utah, if it gets by Oregon, it then has Colorado. Utah can be on that 2 weeks to prepare schedule, because it just needs to show up and breathe, and it'll beat Colorado. Whereas Oregon really does have to focus on that tough Oregon State defense. We all saw how tough that defense is here at USC in late September in Corvallis. So that is the counter argument to make. I'm not disputing the idea that, hey, USC wants Utah. Bring on the Utes, round 2. We'll get them in Vegas. But Oregon could be the more banged up team, having to deal with Oregon State and then make the jump to Las Vegas on a short week compared to Utah playing Colorado.
That'd be real nice. And guys, I just got word live from Las Vegas. If you stick around with us, we've got about 15, 20 minutes. We are going to be joined by LBC Trojan, who is with Mrs. LBC Trojan right now at the Billy Idol concert in Vegas. And he's going to be joining us live as soon as he can get out of there in about 15 minutes.
And the thing
about wedding, a concert, he's everywhere.
Oh, LBC Trojan is the man.
He's living his best life.
No, he really is. LBC Trojan is freaking awesome. He's the greatest guy.
I just thought the win over Oregon because of the Georgia he's called this. I don't want to call it the stain, but because of what happened against Georgia, I think that kind of hurts. I think they're a great team. I think they still might be the best team in the conference, right? But what I am saying is that I think that just the narrative of us beating Utah on a neutral field, I think might be stronger than beating an Oregon who everyone nationally is dismissed already.
Yeah,
So.
I think that's certainly true. I do think this brings up another point, though, as we kind of give a brief peek to Notre Dame, and that is that, you know, before the season began, it was a pretty unanimous point among anyone who follows and covers USC. You know, this team probably isn't ready to make the playoff. It probably doesn't have playoff level talent or depth on defense. And so now, with the playoff being a little bit closer to the realm of possibility, you know, this is a real temptation for the players. There's going to be a lot of playoff talk after the Tennessee loss to South Carolina. Going to be a lot of playoff talk, and players need to be locked in on Notre Dame tunnel vision. So, of course, we here at the Voice of College Football, as fans, people who love USC, yes, of course, we're going to talk about the playoff. But players really need to zone in, get their goggles, their night vision on, and focus on Notre Dame. Just take care of that. And one thing I also said on the Mark Rogers Monday show this past week, like, the main goal is to get a New Year's Six bowl, and this win over UCLA brings USC closer. And I think the calculus in terms of a New Year's Six bowl is this: USC basically gets 2 bites at the apple. If USC beats Notre Dame, USC is going to be 11-1 and is going to be in the top 5 of the rankings. So even if you then lose the Pac-12 title game, you're still in the top 12. And looking at other teams across the nation, so Ole Miss lost. So Ole Miss is definitely out of the New Year's Six bowl.
They lost bad.
Yeah, and Penn State, it could be 10-2, but without any high quality win. So USC banks a high quality win here. If you bank a second high end win, USC is going to finish ahead of Penn State in the final college football playoff rankings, and that means that USC's spot in the New Year's Six will be pretty well solidified. So, yes, the playoff conversation's inevitable, and it's definitely worth considering, to be sure. But USC now gets 2 bites at the apple. Win one of these next 2 games against Notre Dame or in Vegas in the Pac-12 title game, USC will be playing in a top-tier bowl game, and that really matters to me. If you're playing in one of the 6 signature bowl games in year 1 under Lincoln Riley, like that is the next really definitive statement for this program to make. So you can make that statement against Notre Dame. You can make that statement in Vegas. We'd love it if it's both, but USC now gets 2 chances to play its way into the New Year's Six, and that's a very big deal.
I do want us in the playoff, but I do also enjoy spending the entire month of December humming to myself, the little old lady from Pasadena, go Granny, go Granny, go Granny, go. And
but if it is
everything's
Utah,
coming up roses, doo-doo.
Hey,
Come on,
Matt,
guys. Summon your inner Bette Midler, guys.
Right? Matt, what do you guys think of this one? Carol has some great coaches. Lane Kiffin, Steve Sarkisian, Ogeron, Norm Chow, Ken Norton Jr. A lot of them went to UCLA. But anyway, I digress. Any of Riley's coaches in that class?
In terms of the coaches that we just mentioned, I mean, Sean Nua is up for the Broyles. And I think, with the work that he's done with the defensive front, I think that Broyles Award consideration is definitely merited. And also Josh Henson. Like, this offensive line's been great, and it's played through injuries. And I think it was really important that Andrew Voorhees was, much healthier this week after, the injuries of the previous weeks. Like, he got back to being himself. That was absolutely necessary. But with the work that Josh Henson has done, shuffling guys around positions, that's been huge.
And Henson,
I kind of think that they should give it to him because he's got the extra bonus. He comes with the misses, who's just Hanson. As important to the program.
That's the tight end coach. Hanson.
Oh no, Hanson. I'm sorry, I was not listening.
But the thing about Henson,
Hanson.
Yeah, I was thinking Hanson. It's long. I'm still in La La Land over this, guys. I'm delighted.
He wasn't the coach for these guys, but this is right. USC 3 out of 4 years in a row, assuming Voorhees goes to the first round. We're talking 3 out of 4 USC, right? First round draft picks. Is that correct? If I'm doing my math right over the past 4 years. Matt?
What'd you say, Tim? I think the computers were freezing for a sec.
Oh, well, I was just saying that the knock on USC for a long time, why we weren't getting big men, was the fact that they weren't developing offensive linemen. And if you look back, 3 out of the last 4 years, USC has had an offensive lineman go in the first round over the past 4 years. And again, that momentum is going to help us, especially bringing Henson in from Texas A&M. That could only help us. So I'm just I'm really excited because what we're missing here is guys in the trenches, right? But with coaches like Nua and Henson, that's going to be turned around really quick through the portal and through recruiting. You got guys sticking guys into the draft. We have a guy like Tuiopulotu who's leading the country in sacks. These are the kind of things that are to catch the eyes of recruits and guys that are maybe on a really good player, maybe an all-conference player that's stuck on a team somewhere, out there that might want to come join, a playoff contender.
And real quick, guys, because there's a couple hundred of you guys here tonight. I know everybody says it. I know it sounds cheesy, but truly, if you guys could just take one moment and click the like button and ideally subscribe here to our USC Voice of College Football channel, it makes a huge difference for Mark and the Voice of College Football community. So I know everybody says, smash that like and subscribe button, but it really does make a difference. If you guys could just, whatever, if you're on your phone, your computer, just take 1 minute, give it a little click. Thank you very much for that.
One thing I want to step in and say, because, and guys, I do have to run because I have a lot of stories to continue to write through the night at Trojans Wire. But one thing I want to say before I go, and that is that, let's consider not just the speed with which Lincoln Riley has gotten this program back to an elite level, competing for big prizes, but also, let's look on the other side. And this is not meant to look down on UCLA or laugh at UCLA, but just to put it in perspective, what USC has achieved. Chip Kelly and DTR, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, they've both been at UCLA for 5 years. Like, this was a long uphill climb for both men. They both.
Did you mean 50?
What was that?
Did you mean 50 years?
Might have felt like it. And I know that Chris Trevino, the excellent 247 sports reporter, he referred to when Dorian Thompson began his career at UCLA in 1972. So he was thinking along the same lines as that.
When Dorian Thompson-Robinson began at UCLA, as Teddy Roosevelt was forming the NCAA.
Exactly. So it's been a long, long road for UCLA.
What's that movie about that? There's a Netflix, like The Immortals or whatever. Anyway, sorry.
So it's been a long, long road for UCLA, and the Bruins, who underachieved the last 4 seasons, they needed DTR to come back for a 5th year with the pandemic eligibility. They needed grad transfers to season that roster. That's something that Tony Siracusa, explained on our Monday show this past week with Mark Rogers. UCLA needed a 5-year plan, basically, to just be in position to win a Pac-12 title. UCLA has not won a conference title since 1998, the Cade McNown year. And so, like Sisyphus rolling the boulder up the hill for 5 years, UCLA gets so close, and here's Lincoln Riley, like the Roadrunner in year 1.
They hate it. They hate it, don't they? I know they hate it.
He swipes the prize in year 1. So just, that USC could do in 1 year what UCLA couldn't even quite do in 5. And again, not meant to laugh at UCLA. I mean, I will admit it's a kind of a bust to the chops, but it's not meant to laugh. It's just meant to say that this stuff is hard, and Lincoln Riley's doing it in 1 year, and that is why USC fans should be really grateful.
Well, and Lincoln Riley always says, he says in the interview, and I agree with him on that, because my dad's a football coach. I come from a family of football and baseball coaches. He says, winning games is hard. And winning on the road is hard. And we went in there, guys. Remember, this is a school that is averaging, let's generously call it 25,000 butts in seats. Maybe. And they had 70,000 there. Now, it should have been a sellout. They should have pulled back the tarps and let the USC people fill those extra 20,000.
And they were afraid of that, which I were afraid of that
in the past week. Remember, this is a school that is hemorrhaging millions, And I did the math I did. I think they threw about $2 million down the toilet and flushed
Absolutely.
it. By not there's like $2 million under those tarps that they flushed.
You're hemorrhaging debt and you're not willing to sell tickets to USC fans. Like, how weak is that?
It's so weak. But that was a wild crowd tonight. It sounded crazy. And our guys went in there and they found a way to win. And this is a scrappy team that's finding ways to win. And I mean, I know, we want everything to be like when we spanked Oklahoma in 2004, but like you find a way to win and you love it. And D points out non-believers jumping on the bandwagon. Hey, I was a believer in the Hackett era, so we'll take it.
We all lived through those tough years.
Exactly. We lived through those tough years. And you know what? We will not hold a grudge. We will welcome everyone back to the fold.
Absolutely. It's a great day to be a Trojan.
What a day. Exactly. What a day to be a Trojan.
Looking at those pictures at the end of the game of, the resolve on Caleb Williams' face and the tears on DTR's.
And how about the tears on Haskins? The tears of celebration.
The tears of joy. Yeah.
That was, and I saw Addison conducting the band to Conquest. So I'm sure they had a couple people do that.
Let's quickly deal with Bobby Haskins, because not only is he, making the Pac-12 title game at USC and winning over UCLA in the battle for Los Angeles, but, Virginia transfer, that was a big part of his emotions. Yet the tragedy that befell Virginia. So Bobby Haskins is part of that Virginia Cavalier family. And Lincoln Riley made it a point to say earlier this week, we're here for Bobby Haskins, as a man. And as someone who is grieving very deeply. So that was definitely a big part of his emotional release after this game.
Hey, Mark, real quick, a real good question. David Knight, who was with us earlier. David, glad to have you again. Points out, he says, not to ruin the flow, when DTR lowered his helmet and ran into a USC defender, when does that targeting penalty become fair for both sides of the field? It seems offensive players can do it. I know that the definitions of it get real fuzzy. Do you know about that? I must have missed that.
Well,
it just ticks me off too much.
It's just the larger principle that offensive players can lower their heads too. Like it's not as though offensive players can't use their helmet to spear or use it as a weapon. And that just gets to the point that, hey, like there should be targeting rules. There should be rules that, make sure that players don't deliver malicious hits. But that's just the point. A malicious hit is different from helmets colliding because this is a collision sport. Helmets will collide. And coaches teach you, to get lower than your opponent, when you have ball carrier versus tackler. And that's going to mean a helmet hit if you're trying to get your helmet low. It doesn't mean that you're leading with the helmet, though. And so we've just lost all common sense and proportion in terms of why targeting rules exist. We should all be able to get the fundamental difference between a malicious hit and a collision. And targeting just doesn't seem to have the nuance, at least the way the rules are written and then implemented. Just the powers that be don't really seem to understand that fundamental concept. And at the very least, I'm not the first to say it, but just, at the very least, have a yellow card, red card system. If the World Cup coming up on us here, at least, I like that idea. You at least get a yellow card if nothing else. But the main thing is this should be reserved for dirty, malicious hits, and we know them when we see them. And that should be the standard. But we had the rules constructed, it's not.
What was it? Wazoo when Gentry had the targeting call against their receiver who's 5'6"?
Kalen Bullock, I think.
Was it Bullock? Okay, and I mean our guy's like 6'5", and the other kid's like 5'6". It's like he can't get low enough to tackle a midget.
There was basically zero strike zone. There was no player to hit. Yeah. He had to tackle him somewhere. Yes.
And by the way, David, thank you for your donation to help the channel. That, like I said, that Mark Rogers and the Voice College football community, they help provide this for free. We're volunteers. And it really lets us have this community. So thank you for that. We really appreciate it.
I think that helmet thing goes in the same category as, like, I guess if you have the football, you're allowed, the straight arm, the hands to the face. Anywhere else is called a personal foul, hand to the face. But if you've got the rock in your hand, apparently you can do whatever you want. So it's kind of weird how when you're on offense, you get away with stuff like that.
And guys, we have just been joined by the man himself, live from Vegas. LBC Trojan, the victory bell has come home.
LBC in the house.
Hey, baby. How we all doing, Trojans and non-Trojans?
What a great game.
Hey, I just want to clarify something. And did we just make the Pac-12 championship game?
We did.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Are you just going to stay in Vegas for 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Hey, man. Hey, dude. There's Trojans walking around here. We were leaving the Billy Idol concert, and the dude had his SC gear on. I'm like, hey, man, can you take a picture of us, right? So my daughters got to see Billy Idol in Vegas as we're celebrating my wife's birthday out here. And we went into the concert in the fourth quarter, and oh my God, back and forth. I don't know about you guys, my phone's blowing up, complaining about our defense. I'm like, relax. My God, so many insecure Trojan fans out there. It's disgusting.
We won it, though. We got him.
Hey, come on. What can you do in 1 year? You can't fix everything. But how about Austin Jones?
Austin Jones was great.
Jones was great. And so many times this game comes down to somebody that steps up and makes a play that is not really known. And I think I saw it on my phone. I didn't see the play, but I heard that Corey Forman got the last interception.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay?
he did.
So I didn't see it. And you guys could probably describe it for me. How was that play? How was that reaction?
It was pretty amazing. I've heard. I was telling earlier in the show, saying everyone's been saying, right, Rick? Where's Corey Forman been? Where's Corey? That's where he is, right there. He made a catch with his fingertips. He came across like as a receiver. It was beautiful. He didn't wait for the ball to come to him. He broke on the ball, made a great pick. It was amazing, Rick. He looked like a safety.
I started screaming like a middle school girl. I'm surprised the neighbors didn't call the police.
I threw my notes into the air, Rick. I was like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, ah.
And there's our man, Matt Zemek. How you doing, Matt?
Doing great, Rick. Hey,
Oh,
we're all living our best life here.
And is that Dan in Japan?
Yeah, it's DMACC over here. I'm back.
And we got Will.
Boy,
and
Jack.
And I was,
And you're getting a shout out right now from Trojan John as well.
Hey, Trojan John.
Right.
Let me tell you something. My friends were texting me, and I'm like, look, dude, Caleb is a G. DTR is going to do DTR things because he thinks in his mind that he's better than Caleb Williams, and he's going to have to prove it and show it. And you know what? He tried. He pushed too hard, in my opinion. He tried to force things when they shouldn't have been forced because, just my opinion, I think he thought this was his time to shine and show the world that he was better than Caleb Williams. And it just didn't happen. And he made too many mistakes. I think 3 interceptions and a fumble.
Yep.
Yeah. And that was a questionable fumble. I didn't really.
No, it looked good.
It was a fumble.
Okay. All right. I didn't know if his seat hit the ground, but you know what? This team has heart. This team is gritty. The culture has currently changed, and there's like 60 dudes on that team that would not let us lose.
No, they were not going to let us lose. By the way, Pat wants to know: did Billy play eyes without a face?
Of course, he did.
Of course. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Rick, you have fans. They had to know the answers to these things.
All right, let me tell you, Billy Idol has sounded better in this concert than he ever has before. Come on. We get a Trojan win, and I get to see Billy Idol 5th row. Oh God! It's a perfect night.
Can we have a better night?
No.
Jesus, bro.
Well, I wish Cam Rising was having a better night. Cam Rising just threw an interception. They're marching. They're down by 3, and
Bo Pick just had thrown one a minute ago.
What's the score on that one?
The Ducks are up by 3 right now. About 5 minutes left in the game.
Okay, well, still,
but the Utah was marching, and Cam Rising just threw an interception. So
I got a question for Matt Zemek.
Fire away.
Matt? Okay, the final score tonight was 48-45, right?
Yeah.
So what is the national media going to say about this game? Something to the fact that we don't play any defense, yet when Tennessee beat Alabama at Tennessee 52-49, that was just a classic, all-time great game, wasn't it?
Well, Rick, you're going to enjoy the fact that Tennessee just gave up 63 points to South Carolina. So they don't have much to talk about defenses in the SEC.
I saw that. And I think Lane Kiffin went to Fayetteville and gave up 42 and lost.
Yeah, SEC stands for the Sucky Entitled Conference, by the way, in case anyone's wondering. other than Georgia.
So, Matt, you've got the power of the pen. You cannot let the SEC media paint this game any differently than Tennessee versus Alabama. That's what happens when you have good quarterback play.
Yeah, good quarterbacks, great offensive skill sets, NFL draft talent, absolutely. Yeah. And of course, this is the other side of in 2011 when, LSU 9, Alabama 6 was this amazing defensive struggle. And it really was just more about Jarrett Lee
poor offenses.
And Jordan Jefferson being lousy quarterbacks for LSU.
Yeah.
So, gentlemen, we are celebrating my wife's birthday out here. And
happy birthday, Mrs. LBC.
And one of her good friends sent up to the room Prosecco, cupcakes, and chocolate. So how appropriate that we get to celebrate going to the Pac-12 championship with a little bit of Prosecco.
Cheers.
Yes. And LBC, we're not going to tell him yet, but just yes or no, tell me, will there be a victory beer announced on Wednesday for USC?
Oh, yes, there will. Oh, and there'll be other announcements as well.
Really?
That's coming.
I can't wait.
Oh, yeah.
For any of you guys who are new to the chat, LBC Trojan spent many years. He's actually a marketing guru in the craft beer industry. And so this is not sponsored. This is not like advertising, but LBC actually goes through. And because the Pac-12 is the best conference for craft beer, LBC picks a craft beer recommendation for fan bases when they deserve it. And we've all been waiting for USC's, for what is going to be the USC California craft beer for USC, and we're going to get it on Wednesday.
And
I can't wait.
Drop your guesses in the chat. Put it in the comment section. But love us or hate us, you want to be us. You know it right now. From 4-8 to 10-1. Bring on the Domers. There's Will and D. Hey, I know you got a 44 burger to nothing against the what are they, a Jesuit school or a Catholic school? I don't know. But they're from the ACC. You know what, buddy? This is great because Caleb's going to win the Heisman. This is just like Carson Palmer.
It's just like Carson Palmer, isn't it?
It is. Hey, and God bless Lee Corso. Anybody check out Lee Corso this morning on College Game Day? The fact that he was in Montana outside is a miracle.
Yeah. And he called it for us.
The miracle that he survived.
Yeah. He laid it down. He said, Lee Corso said, USC wins, USC the playoffs, Caleb the Heisman.
And did you see Bear when he picked UCLA on, he does the 3 picks, the guy Bear?
I know he's always wrong. I was so glad for that.
He's always wrong.
So he picked UCLA, and Herb Herbstreit said, "Oh, what do you think of the Bear?" And Lee Corso goes, "He's been wrong before."
And by before he means usually.
Yeah. So, hey, Lee loves USC, and hey, man, so does the world tonight. You know it.
It's a Trojan night. Quite literally, Trojan Knights. And by the way, if there are any Trojan Knights in the chat right now, fight on, guys. You guys do awesome stuff. You're an amazing, rich part of USC's history and traditions. And you guys are the ones who stole the victory bell, and you're going to be the ones to receive it back. They usually do it on Monday or Tuesday when UCLA has to bring it over.
I'm sorry to derail the show. I just
no. Hey,
and let me say, you're not derailing. You're the crowning glory.
Rick, I wanted to be here so that I could talk to you for a little bit, but now I have to get back to my desk at Trojans Wire. But this is like the handoff from me to you to get the show going.
Matt, please
Thanks,
do something.
everybody.
Please do something with John Kennedy from Irish Wire.
I'm sure we will. We're going to do a lot with Irish Wire this week. So Will, if you want to read both of our sites. All right.
And Matt, next week, tell the guy from Irish Wire too. We're doing a joint USC Notre Dame post game with Will ND and the Voice of College Football's Notre Dame channel. So it's going to be a joint post game.
See if we can get Irish Wire aboard for that.
That'd be fun.
All right.
Hey, Matt, thank you for joining us. We're glad to have you. Fight on.
Thanks, Matt.
Follow Trojans Wire all through the morning. We're going to have a ton of stuff up. I'm going to be up until 3 a.m. I know it. So.
All right.
Thanks,
Appreciate
guys.
You.
Hey, Matt.
And to answer Mike for why is Will Indy first of all, Indy is always an honorary Pac team. And just in case you guys don't know, this is a little history moment because some of you guys like this. Notre Dame almost joined the Pac in 1958 along with the service academies. And Father Hesburgh, as in the big touchdown Jesus, is the Hesburgh Library. He actually spent an entire night in a nuclear disarmament conference at the Soviet embassy in Geneva trying to put that together with the chancellor from Cal. So Notre Dame, they're kind of honorary Pac. And we're taking Will ND because next week is Notre Dame, USC. They call it the Glamour Game is the nickname, and it's the battle for the shillelagh. So it's an amazing glamour game. And oh, by the way, that is, just to be clear, the number 5 and number 6 academic schools in all of college football. So it's a showdown. It's classic. It's Notre Dame. It's USC. It's everything it should be. And it's going to be in the Coliseum, under the torch, under the lights, in prime time.
The way it should be.
The way it should be.
Of course. Yeah,
and to any of you guys who don't know, by the way, Gwen Wilson, who the USC Student Union's named after, was once tasked. They sent him on the train to Notre Dame to try to convince Notre Dame to play us, and they didn't want to. And his poor wife was hanging out with Newt Rockney's wife, and she was complaining about how cold it was and telling Newt Rockney's wife about how nice LA was. And that was what convinced Newt Rockney to come because Mrs. Rockney was cold.
So I see Zach in the chat here. So Purdue and Notre Dame, they play for the shillelagh, but the Notre Dame and USC play for the jeweled shillelagh. That's the one difference between the two rivalries.
That and one of them has like 20 some odd national championships decided in the game, and the other one doesn't.
The other one has 0.
One has like 14. One of them has 14 Heisman trophies. The other one has about half of that. So
I think it's exactly half of that.
That's why it's jeweled. It's money.
It is. It's jeweled. And if you haven't seen the jeweled shillelagh, it gets a Trojan head with a ruby or a clover leaf with an emerald on it when each team wins. So the jeweled shillelagh is pretty awesome.
I don't know if you guys went over this, but who was the USC player of the game in everyone's opinion?
Caleb.
The whole team.
Caleb on offense for sure. And then I'm giving it to Corey Forman stepping up at the end, man, making that play.
I'll give it to Corey. That was the play. But yeah, I agree. It's the whole team. I mean, the team, they found a way to do it. And Rick, we said earlier, actually, we thought the players of the game were Dr. Folt, Mike Bone, and Lincoln Riley.
That was great, man. That was great. What was Joel Klatt? Anybody? I mean, did you guys get any sound when you were watching the game?
Oh, he loved us. Joel Klatt's all about us.
All right, because Joel Klatt's not really a USC supporter. He's got.
I didn't feel that at all, Tony.
You didn't think so?
I felt that the announcers were so excited whenever UCLA did something.
Well, they were excited. So I don't know if you guys listen. I listen to the Joel Klatt show that he does all the time, and he's been on the USC bandwagon train.
Yeah.
So I mean, he wasn't quite as it wasn't like Petros where it's like definitely a Trojan. But
Petros picked UCLA to win.
Really quick, Mike Fort, DTR was MVP for USC 3 picks. Just like the guy that got called for the holding penalty on the Illini saved you guys from losing. I don't know where you're coming from.
You really did save Michigan today.
Because I'll tell you right now, it was Caleb Williams played his ass off and had an amazing game. And anybody that didn't see that is just kind of blind.
And here's something for you guys. I was thinking about this actually the other day, and this is kind of a random Pac-12 coach of the year. I agree. I was thinking actually for coach of the year, like there needs to be say like for a really bad team, like there should be an award for somebody like what Jedd Fisch has done and what Kalen DeBoer has done, and then like a gold, silver, and a bronze like for coach of the year. Like Lincoln Riley is doing amazing things at a high level. Kalen DeBoer is doing phenomenal things at kind of a little different level, and Jedd Fisch is just building out of the absolute cellar. I don't know. There should just be like ways to recognize folks. Pedro, you know what? Strike what I said. If Pedro's picked UCLA, screw that. Strike what I said.
He did. He picked UCLA at the beginning of the Fox broadcast in the studio. Yes.
A lot of people picked UCLA. I mean,
you know what, guys? Petros is probably still scarred by Paul Hackett.
Coach Peterson picked USC.
Coach Pete.
He picked USC.
Coach Pete.
Yeah. Yep. So
Utah just pissed the game away. So it looks like Oregon's going to beat Utah.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we have basically 7 teams still competing for a shot at the college football playoff because Tennessee and North Carolina lost today. So there's 7 teams still with a legitimate shot.
Now, here's a question for you, because I'm not sure how this works, and I'm not sure on this. When Stanford gets the ACC championship trophy, do they also get a playoff berth or no? I wasn't sure.
They're going to trade it in for a spot in the Big Ten Conference.
They would. They would in a minute. They absolutely would. I mean, you guys know when I put on, and we're going to talk about this. We're going to have a special show, I think tomorrow with Mark Rogers. We're going to talk about the UCLA Regents thing. And if I put my tinfoil hat on, I think the powers of Stanford are the ones trying to make the UCLA deal collapse. Because I think they would really like a ticket to Chicago. Yeah, Oregon's going to win it. So what do you guys think? Just you guys in the chat. Are the Beavs going to stick it to the Ducks?
I think there's a shot. I got to head out soon, guys. I got to get up early tomorrow. I stayed on here too late, but it's just so much fun.
Hey, Will and D. First of all, everybody, Will's going to be with us next week. Are you with us on Wednesday for a preview?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Will's with us on Wednesday for the Pac-12 show to preview the USC Notre Dame game, and then we'll have a joint on both Mark Rogers channels. You can be in whichever chat you want to be in, so that you don't have to mix with each other if you don't want. We're gonna have a joint both channels USC Notre Dame postgame. Well,
so excited for this.
Congrats to the Irish. You guys woke up the echoes and looked great today against BC.
Congrats, Will.
Thanks, guys.
Congrats.
See you later. What about you guys? Any of our latecomers? Anybody want to join? Call. Tell us what you guys think. We want to hear what you guys think about this. Put the link in the chat again. We're kind of getting up to our time here, but we'd love to hear from you guys before we wrap up.
Hey, how about that running game tonight?
Yeah, that's what
run
I was
game.
Are we going to talk
that's
about?
What I've been looking for
that
all year. And we stayed committed to the run. Austin Jones was a baller. I love Caleb Williams also running the ball. Some great runs for touchdowns. Phenomenal.
And started that way, which I think maybe Coach Riley was taking some tips from LBC, but we started by trying to pound the rock, giving it to Austin Jones to get his legs moving. Barlow didn't come in until the very end, but it was there was a concerted effort to establish the run game first.
Yes, and I'll tell you what, this team was resilient. Was the definition of fight on, because we made a lot of mistakes. We overcame a lot of mistakes. The first key one is, Rayleigh Brown. Gotta love that guy. He's a freshman, but he made a big freshman mistake. He thought he was still in high school at Mater Dei. He was running east and west, and he didn't hit north to get that easy first down. He thought
exactly what I said last week, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And he's got to run north and south, and the first down line is right in front of him, and all he's got to do is just go get it.
right?
and fancy schmancy pants,
right?
you know,
And
cost us a
we had to go on
touchdown
fourth
probably.
down. Well, we had to go
Yeah.
on fourth down, and that shouldn't have happened. But that was a mistake. I'm sure he's going to learn from that.
Yeah.
You know, our field goal kicker missed a couple of shots. But we kept on finding a way to make the next play. That's what this team's all about. And they made the next plays. And, you know, God bless Corey Forman. We've given that guy a lot of grief. I think the fan base has given him a lot of grief. And he didn't play a lot in the game from what I recall. Did he play many reps? I didn't remember seeing him many times out there.
Yeah, if he was out there, you weren't hearing his name until that critical play.
Yeah, right. And then did anybody notice, did Gentry actually play?
I didn't notice, but some people said on here that he
Gentry
came
played
in for a couple series.
Okay,
played.
not many plays, which, you know, is to be expected when you've had that much rust. And maybe just wasn't 100%. Was trying to give it a go, but a lot of resiliency on this team. That was great to see, because we could have let the little things derail us, and we didn't.
Yeah, 100%. I think it was, you know, Caleb was just resolute, right? DTR was all emotional.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the leader of your team, right? And I think that's a lot of what it came down to, was that, you know, this was a game for Caleb, right? And for DTR, you know, this was his opportunity to prove he was better than Caleb, or his crowning, you know, shining moment. And boy, he blew it.
But
And
Caleb,
real quick, guys, we've got a final from Autzen. Oregon has defeated Utah.
Yeah, that was over. Yeah. The thing is, I like what like Caleb said. I don't know if you even caught it, but at the end, there's an interview, and he said, you know, they did a lot of talking during the week, and we didn't. We just stayed focused. We didn't let it bother us. They said they did a lot of talking during the game. Yeah, we kept our focus. We didn't let it bother us. And I do like the attitude of this team. I do like the culture of this team. These guys play for each other. They play hard. They play disciplined, and it's just night and day from what was going on before. So I'm really excited about the future.
It was. And guys, we have another caller. Let's welcome Mike to the group. Mike, welcome.
Hey, how you guys doing?
What's up,
Good.
Mike?
We've just got a couple more minutes, but tell us real quick what you thought about the USC game.
Just kind of interesting. Like I said, I was gonna ask, since you guys said that he's still in the hunt. I know he has a good touchdown to interception ratio. What was Caleb Williams' final stat line tonight?
I've given it out like 3 times. It's
yeah, you can. There's Google for that.
I missed. Here I'll tell you, because it's amazing. It's 32 of 43, 470 yards, 2 touchdowns and interception, and he's been doing that for about 4 weeks straight. So his numbers are amazing.
That's just in the air. He was over 500 total.
Yeah, he rushed for I think he rushed like 30 yards. Rushed for 32 yards. He had a really important 19-yard scramble for a first down, which was really important, and a rushing touchdown as well. So 3 touchdowns on the night, which breaks his streak of 5 touchdowns he's had for 4 straight games. So yeah, he's tearing it up. You know, you have 3 touchdowns accounted for, and it's an off night. You know, you're in the Heisman rush.
So it puts him about what, like in the mid-30s for total touchdowns?
That would be 34 touchdowns
and 3 interceptions.
3 interceptions with 7 rushing touchdowns. And
that 34.
Does
the 34 include the rushing, or is that total?
No, that's 34 passing, 7 rushing. So that's 41 touchdowns, 3 interceptions for about 3,500 yards.
Wow, that is pretty good.
It's not just the numbers. Anybody that has watched him play, the way he moves with the ball, the way he's so important. USC does not. How many games does USC win this year without Caleb Williams? He is absolutely. It's not the numbers of themselves speak for themselves, but the way he's doing it, the way he's moving, where he's willing USC to win these games, that's what makes him special.
I kind of understand that, but even the Oregon State, where you could say a lot of that game, maybe went poorly because of him, because he was so frazzled. But the last 2 minutes, would we have won that game without him? Big question mark.
And every quarterback's going to have an off night, right? And that was his off night up in Corvallis.
That's his worst game, right? I mean, you still can't say that we would have won it without him.
Correct. Yeah, actually, good point. Very good point.
And here's the thing too, Oregon State is now 8-3.
Wow.
8-3.
Wow.
They're going to be, and I was watching College Game Day, and they said USC didn't have any quality wins, and it's like, come on, guys, be better than that. Your show does the college football playoff ranking show. This was just 4 days ago, and Oregon State's in the top 25. How is that not a quality win? So it's just bad national media spreading lies. So now this is USC's second quality win because Oregon State won. They're going to still be in the top 25. And, it was a close game. And they're not going to drop UCLA out of the top 25. I know they do crazy things, but they won't do that. They'll drop them down to 21 or 22. But, there you go. 2 quality wins.
Well, the part of it is that, Oregon State is not a team that you're used to seeing with a number in front of them. So they're going to get discounted because of that.
Right. And so they were kind of debating on the show today in the College Game Day. It's like, well, is it when you beat the team that's ranked, or is it later in the season? Like you just said, Mike, Oregon State doesn't get a lot of props, but when USC played them, Oregon State was 3-0. So they beat a 3-0 team. And Oregon State is not the type of team that's going to get a preseason ranking like a Michigan State or a Texas A&M or a Kentucky. Yes, and all those teams are not top 25.
I think they're starting to get to that point where they're going to deserve it.
Well, at 8-3, they definitely should get a few looks.
They're a good team. Oregon State is for real. Jonathan Smith is the man. And people forget, Jonathan Smith led Oregon State as a quarterback to their most successful, or certainly the most successful season since 1963 or whatever, and the most wins they've ever had in one season. He then went to Boise. He was Chris Peterson protege at Washington, and then came to Oregon State, interviewing with his Fiesta Bowl ring on to say, I will bring this team back, and here's how. And that was a hard rebuild.
And they were really hard. They were a mess. And in 5 years, he's built them back. We're not going to go over this again, but they're a quarterback away from being the top 5 that we're talking about. And even with Gilbranson, I'm telling you, I still think that they have a chance to upset Washington. And if they beat Washington, I wouldn't be shocked if they show up at like
in Oregon
8-4.
You mean Oregon, right?
Washington State beating Washington.
Washington State beating Washington. Yeah.
In the Apple Cup, that would give USC. I can see them peaking in at 8-4. They could somehow probably get themselves in the top 25 with the win over. At that time, it's going to be a 9-2 Washington team. So yeah, there's a lot of good wins out there for USC to look at. But I think beating Notre Dame next week and then winning in Las Vegas, but if we're talking about a chance to get in the playoffs, if they win those games, which they need in order to even talk about the playoff, they have enough wins. It's whatever they're talking about on game day. It's just a waste of time. They'll have enough wins to get in.
Are they playing Washington at the Palouse, or is it a road game?
No, it's at home.
Apple Cup.
Apple Cup's in Pullman.
That's at Martin Stadium.
Well, they got a shot there.
Here's another thing about Oregon State. They're 8-3. They have a win over Boise State, who is 8-3, and they have a win over Fresno State, who is now 7-4. So,
and the Fresno State, those 4 losses, Rick, it was like because Hainer was out. Right. It took them a while to get their feet under them after that. So, yeah.
Real quick, Mike. Anything else? Real quick.
No, that's all. Just come and say hi, and I just wanted to get the stats because
thanks for always being in the chat. We're always glad to have you.
And I hope you guys didn't get too mad about when I said that DTR was the MVP.
Oh no, we were teasing you. We always love having you in the chat. We know. And hey, I kind of enjoy that because we had to watch it. Mike, remember, we had to watch him sign a hat after scoring a touchdown for one of our fans last year. So we'll take those. We'll take those picks. We'll take them.
I was never high on him. I thought that team kind of lived and died with Charbonnet. Maybe I'm just short-sighted, but I never thought that Dorian was like some fantastic quarterback that it seems like a lot of people thought he was.
Well, I think you're right, but I think he needs Charbonnet to take enough of the defenders away that then he can go work his magic.
Yeah, no, he's definitely a good scrambler, and I saw him break a few runs loose that really impressed me. But his arm seems to have a little bit of inconsistency to it.
We'll take it. As long as that inconsistency guys into our guys' hands, we'll take it.
Well, you know, he only had 8 interceptions on the season until tonight. So it's not like he's tossing out interceptions. He throws the ball quite a bit. I think we need to give credit where credit's due. And this defense has been opportunistic all year. And on the one play, he just didn't see Shane Lee. That was pretty obvious. But the play by Corey Forman, he really broke on that ball and made that play happen. And the hit for the fumble. So you know, he's a good player, and USC was able to do what they've done all season. They have that. They weren't able to stop them like I thought they would in the red zone, but they did stop them in the turnovers when they needed to do it. So they came out to win.
Well, don't you guys lead the nation in turnovers?
We do.
Yep.
So I mean,
and we definitely do after tonight.
Yep.
Although our red zone defense took a hit tonight, so we're probably not as highly rated as we were before. But
yeah, the red zone defense again, but the turnovers are still good.
Well, yeah, you're going to give up points to UCLA. Their offense is legit. Like I said, this is just one of those games I said earlier in whatever the over is, take it.
Yeah, it was a good one. Well, hey, thank you, Mike. We're glad to have you.
Thanks for having me.
All right, we'll talk to you soon.
All right.
All right, and we got another call. Go ahead.
I was going to say, how about Shane Lee with the interception with a cast on his hand? Not bad.
I know.
Great.
That was awesome.
Fantastic.
Does he still have the cast on his hand, Rick?
That's what they said. Him and Goforth were playing with casts on their hand.
Wow.
I didn't actually see it, but
I didn't notice that.
And Goforth had a
amazing.
bunch of key tackles tonight too.
And real quick, guys, Larry Pilgrim's joined us. Larry, hey, sorry about your Utes.
What's up, Larry?
Hey guys, how are you?
Good. Larry, what'd you think of the Trojans tonight?
I watched basically the first half, and I was a little nervous for you guys, but I could see you guys were shaking Dorian's confidence. You know what I mean? You could see every throw he was less confident and he thought more. And so I watched the score, and pretty amazing stats by Caleb. So
he was something else.
Yeah, he was. Like I said, I didn't get to watch the second half, but I could feel the Trojans were going to come back. I just felt like Dorian was just getting worse as the game went on. And I felt like the Trojans defense seemed to kind of not have their number, but seemed to kind of really be playing them pretty good. So it was a little risky, but they got out with the win. So congrats.
And hey guys, I want to throw a hot take out there. And here's that hot take based on Corso's comment. I'm a big fan of symmetry. And I like architectural symmetry. And I think if we hang a number 13 jersey in the peristyle, we need to put number 5 back as well.
Yeah, that'll be again. I'll tell you what, we're not sure about the 13. I know we all think it's coming, but one thing I will tell you that is coming is number 5 will be back in the peristyle in the near future. That's it. That part's inevitable. I
think we need to just assert that number 5 is back in the peristyle.
Yeah. I think we stop pretending it shamed us. Stop pretending that anything about that was fair or reasonable, or that having Miami's AD running that and saying a high profile team needs high profile consequences, and then
if I hang Paul D in effigy, will that be appropriate?
Perfect.
I think it's fine.
Where's Fox going to be next week? Is Fox going to be at the Ohio State, Michigan?
Yes, that's literally what Fox just paid $1 billion to the Big Ten for.
Because here's the thing: how sweet would it have been if Fox would have been if Fox had been at SC for the game, and we'd have Reggie and Matt leading the tunnel out for Notre Dame. That would have been cool. That would have been perfect, but
that would have been cool. Well, hey, maybe next year, because it's back at SC. This year was at UCLA. Hey guys, let's real quick. While we got Larry from Utah, let's take a quick walk through the Pac-12 real fast. And what went on today. So we saw the Utah and Oregon game. We talked about that just happened. Oregon pulled off. Now, guys, if Oregon State beats Oregon, who goes to the championship? Because if Oregon wins out, they go to the championship.
If Washington wins,
Washington. Yeah, Washington wins.
But that's gonna be a hell of a game.
Yeah,
So-
those are both great games. I mean, think about this.
Washington's playing at Martin Stadium, and the Ducks are playing at Reser. So that could be. It's gonna be. I'll tell you what. The Wednesday show is gonna be pretty crazy for the picks. I think there's gonna be some tough games on the docket.
It's gonna be wild because we've got the Civil War, the Apple Cup, and USC
Cup.
Notre Dame, the Glamour game, and the Territorial Cup.
That might be interesting as well.
Yeah, that's gonna be wild. And Utah, Colorado.
No, that will not be interesting. That we know that's
the healing game
right now.
The healing game.
44-12. That's what that score is going to be. 4 field goals.
It is.
They're going to
You
get.
think they're going to get 4 field goals? You got more faith in them than I do.
There might be you know why? The reason why is because Rising is turning into. What is up with your boy Rising, man? He's just throws some pretty crazy interceptions.
He's something's wrong with him. Like, I know the ball was a little slick, but I mean, I don't put it on that. I know his knee's kind of bad, but something's wrong with him. He's just been, he came back against, I don't know if it was Arizona. The defense has been winning the last few games. Defense showed up tonight. Defense, showed up, but something's wrong with Cam. I don't know what's wrong. And if he's going to play like that, I don't want us going I don't want to go to the Rose Bowl with him playing like that.
Well, I'll tell you what. Yeah, it was 2021, and it's 2:30 left in the clock, and Cam Rising the ball in his hand, going down by 3. I think everyone's panel says, "Oh, Utah wins," but for some reason, man, it just seems like Cam's kind of lost that mojo, Larry.
No, something's wrong. He's throwing short arms. If you notice that 1 4th down, he threw at Kincaid's feet. If he would have just lofted that, Kincaid would have ran 50 yards for a touchdown. There was nobody. And they would have went up by 4. Something's wrong with him. It's been since the USC game and he got hurt. He's not the same. So
we know how that feels for Gentry.
Yeah. I was starting to wonder if they should put the backup in tonight because Cam something was off. So, yep.
Yeah, you got something special with that guy next year, that speedster. I think that's going to be awesome for you guys.
Nate Johnson?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He's pretty ridiculous from what I hear. So, but yeah, he's a California kid.
There goes our rematch, though. So,
yeah.
It was really tough.
You guys would have slaughtered us with the way Cam's playing. You guys would have killed us. Our offense is just, since he's been hurt, it's just not the same. So, yeah, I think you guys would have killed us. So you kind of saved us an embarrassment. So I'm good with that.
Hey, we'll take that. And guys, Cohen says Notre Dame plays better defense than the Pac. I don't know because they didn't play so good against Stanford.
Yeah, let's not place too much on 2 wins. I think Notre Dame is turning it around, but I think we're going a little crazy on the Clemson win and dude, this Boston College. Let's not get
just because you can stop ACC teams doesn't mean you can stop everybody else.
Boston College is the Colorado of the East. That's all I'm going to say. I'm just going to leave it right there.
Really, they're the Colorado of the East. But Notre Dame does have a good defense. We'll see. I mean, the question is Notre Dame. Do you get the Clemson Notre Dame or do you get the Stanford Notre Dame?
Or the Cal Notre Dame?
I'm sorry.
Or the Marshall Notre Dame. Or the North Carolina Notre Dame. Or the Syracuse Notre Dame. I mean, it's like a bingo wheel of like which Notre Dame do you get? Boom. We'll see what the USC Notre Dame is.
Here's the thing. Notre Dame's Drew Pine is going to have to make plays in the Coliseum. He's going to have to try to keep up with Caleb Williams. And they got a great tight end, but come on. There's no way they're going to keep up the scoring with USC at the Coliseum. There's no way.
Can I tell you guys something actually kind of funny about Notre Dame really fast as well, about Drew Pine? I don't know if you guys heard this. Brett Yormark from the Big 12, the commissioner there, has appointed this new like business advisory committee. Lots of like CEOs, Garth Brooks, like all kinds of folks. And some of their fans are like a little bit slow. Like, they're not like the brightest folks in the world. And one of the things is they were looking on there and they're like, oh yeah, and he's got this executive George Pine. Oh, and like none of them made the connection with Drew Pine's dad. Like none of them. All of these idiots are like, yeah, oh, he's done this and I was like, guys, it's Drew Pine's dad. And it was kind of funny. All right, none of them knew. All right, let's move on real quick. Washington State Wazoo beat Arizona. Really solid win. Wazoo looked good in this. I don't know.
Yeah, that score is not indicative of how much they beat the crap out of them.
Wazoo ran away with it.
They were way up, and they just kind of took a foot off the pedal and played some defense to protect the score. But yeah, that was an ass whipping.
And kudos. I mean, Jed Fish. Kudos to Jed Fish on a great season. But Jake Dickert, guys, Jake Dickert took over a team last year. They had to fire half the staff in the middle of the season. Jake Dickert was like going on LinkedIn pretty much looking for like coaches who could do the run and shoot. And he kept that team together. He fixed them up this year. And just Jake Dickert and friend of the show, Dr. Chilton, the chancellor from Wazoo, like, go you guys. Like, kudos to Wazoo on a really a great season and good job with the program.
And
yeah,
Clay
they
McGuire,
beat them so bad that
Clay McGuire, their offensive line coach, their offensive line coach, Clay McGuire, their offensive line coach, was a big part of turning around our offensive line. A big part of doing that. And he's doing a great job up there at in the Palouse.
Yeah, and actually, they beat them so badly that Arizona guys were fighting with each other on the sidelines. Like they were frustrated. It was frustrating loss. Yeah. Delora got into it with one of his wide receivers. There's actually real pushing going on.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I think it was a kind of a misplay that turned into an INT, and boy, they got into it.
Well,
had to be separated.
The Cougars, have 4 losses, but their 4 losses are that game they should have beat Oregon, and they lost to USC, they lost to the Beavers, and they lost to the Utes. So the teams they've lost to have been really good teams, and they've lost very closely in a lot of those games. So I think that Apple Cups could be something special.
Yeah.
And moving on, looking at Washington just drilled Colorado.
I won't talk about Colorado. I already said it, Tony.
Yeah.
I don't want to spend time talking about them anymore.
Yeah, we don't have to talk about them. Oregon State stuck at Arizona State, went down to the desert and looked great. Cole Branson looked good. And the Beavs are 8-3.
That
huge win
is real.
Huge win for the Beavs. Go Beavs. And friends of the show, we got some Beavs out there. I know we got Clint out there. Connor's in the chat. You guys, kudos to the Beavs. You guys are awesome.
I think Beavs are getting the Ducks. I think the Beavs are going to get the Ducks.
They might.
I'm going to bet that one. I'm going to wait for the line to come out, but I think they got them.
I think you're right, Larry.
If Bo Nix, it doesn't matter. Bo Nix, you saw what they ran. They could only run so many plays. Like everything they had, they put out there. So I think Oregon State's got the guys to match up with what Oregon does. That's just my opinion. So.
That Oregon State secondary, Larry, I think is going to be the difference in this game. They might be able to make them one-dimensional, and it'll be interesting to see. I mean, they gave USC fits, that's for sure. And our offensive passing games, I think better than it is better than Oregon. So it'll be interesting what they can do.
Yep.
What do you guys think the line is going to be on that?
Wow.
Oregon +3 is what I think it's going to be. I think it's going to start off +3 Oregon.
I'm thinking more closer to +6.
Yeah, me too. I'm thinking +6.
Oregon State +6 is what I'm thinking.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah,
that's probably right in the line.
Yeah. I don't think that's what it should be. I think it's legit. I think you flip a coin on that. I really do. But I think that the line will be that. Yeah.
When are you guys doing your preview? When's your preview for your USC Notre Dame game?
Wednesday at 10:30 Eastern.
Okay, so just on the regular time slot for the whole Pac-12. Okay.
Yeah.
Don't want to miss it.
It's gonna be a good one. And then, hey guys, on the 40th anniversary of the play and the unveiling of the statue of that, Cal won its first big game in Berkeley since 2008. So, go Bears! And he's probably not watching right now. We got a friend of the show, number 15. Glad to have you. You probably watch it in post game. We appreciate having you. Congrats to your Bears and to all the Cal fans. We need the Pac-12 needs Cal to be good again. And I think this was a nice one. Any band, Mike wants to know any band interference? None that we know of, but actually some really cool stuff. I think the Stanford band folks have been really, really kind of neat in their support of all the efforts and the celebrations around the play, because John Elway will still not give interviews about it.
And Mike, you got to remember, when you ever reference the Stanford band, you always put band in quotation marks. Okay, just going forward. I know you're in the Big Ten, you don't realize it. You guys have a real band. You guys have real bands out in the Big Ten. This is the Stanford band.
They're a swarming band. And you know what? And once again, the other interesting thing, you guys, Stanford has the Notre Dame game's a bit debatable as to exactly the timeline, but Stanford has not won a game since they suspended the tree.
Oh, and listen, Tony, you want to hear this? Great. So
Free the tree.
This is before the game. They talked about this. I think it was on the radio. And they asked him, why did you come to USC? He said, you know what his quote was? You're gonna love this.
To have fun.
Because I want to have fun.
Stanford hates fun.
I gotta remember that for Tony.
Stanford hates fun. Free the tree.
Oh my God.
Free the tree, Stanford, and then you may free yourself to win games. Because Stanford, I don't have a lot of respect for the institution you play next. I think it is a piss poor institution, and I need you to beat them. Because it is not an institution that is worthy of respect.
Your favorite.
And then, I know. It's an institution that is unworthy of respect. And then the next one, San Diego State, maybe future Pac-12 team, looking more and more and more like that. Stuck it to Mexico. So go Aztecs. So that was a nice win there. And I'm giving a final shout out to my other alma mater as well, who had a surging comeback against arch rival and the Penn Quakers, led by Southern California quarterback Aiden Sayan, who you guys probably know his brother is on his way to Alabama. Aiden brought the Penn Quakers in a comeback to beat their arch rival Princeton. So, and by the way, in case you guys might not know this, Penn's little saying is also "fight on." So, fight on, Pennsylvania. That was another great win, and I was stoked for our Quakers. So, fight on, Pennsylvania. So anyway, so that was going around the Pac-12. Guys, we're getting ready to wrap up here, I think. Why don't we give some final thoughts on a glorious night for the Trojans and a celebration of the Victory Bell coming home. Larry, you want to start?
Yeah, that was a great game you guys played tonight. I think Caleb really put himself at the forefront for the Heisman, and congratulations, guys. Hope you go all the way.
Thanks, Larry. Hey, good luck to you.
In victory and in loss, you've always showed up. Appreciate it.
We love Larry. We love having you. And Larry, please also to any other Utes fans, you guys are great fans. Utah fans are awesome. You got a great team, great, well coached, and
Gracias.
Oh, and my computer is freezing up for a minute. Sorry, I don't know how much of that happened with my computer freezing, but Larry, we love you guys.
Gracias. Thank you guys. Love you guys too.
Thanks, Larry.
All right. DMACC, you're up.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts?
Game. Yeah, that was a lot of heart. It was more of those baby steps forward that we need to be making in our kind of rebuilding year. What a great rebuilding year this is. I thought there was just the Caleb and Lincoln spreading the love around is the formula, and I hope we stick to it. Let's keep letting everybody eat, right? Let everyone get a bite. Definition really a fight on in that back and forth. I think we all kind of expected that. And I knew it last night we were going to win. I just felt like our team, the heart that they show this year, despite the challenges that Charbonnet and DTR were going to pose, I felt that DTR's kind of emotion was the X factor that was going to kind of overtake things. And I think that's part of what happened, but that's not to take any credit away from, the commitment, the resolve of our guys out there. And that just goes, all the way around. but we need a special teams coordinator, at least someone, if he's not Cracker Jack, then at least someone who can say no pooch kick, no. So looking forward to Notre Dame. I mean, great UCLA relevant, a relevant game again. Notre Dame relevant again, and we're going to the Pac-12 championship, guys. Fight on.
Fight on, DMACC and Hoke. We'll talk to you soon.
Hoke, brother.
DMACC.
All right. Oh, I got the wrong thing up. I got to switch it. LBC live from Vegas. You're up.
Hold on 1 second. I got to show you something.
I want to see it.
Boys, I just looked out my window. We're staying at the Cosmopolitan, and I'm gonna close with this. I'm gonna close with this. See if you can see it.
You better not be.
Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on.
I'm a little afraid.
Okay, I don't know if you can see.
Is that the stadium?
There's the stadium. Can you see it?
I see it in my soul.
Okay.
What? Sorry. There we go. Do it again.
Dark,
Let's see.
But I can see Allegiant Stadium.
I can see it.
And how prophetic is that? That I'm in Vegas, and it happened. We're going to the Pac-12 championship. I think DMACC said it best. I mean, there's a lot of Trojans out there just got to trust. They got to trust this team. It's not perfect. Yes, the defense, if you want to say it sucks, I think that's a ridiculous term. Yeah, it's challenged. But look at what Lincoln Riley has done in less than 1 year. Okay. 4-8 to 10-1. This is not a perfect team, but it's a team that is not going to quit. It's a team that's going to fight on. And if you don't love that, then you need to go root for UCLA. Get off the Trojan bandwagon. You know what? Go root for the Rams, the Chargers. Get off our cloud, so to speak. Okay. Because this is a team that finds a way. That is what fight on is about. It's not, if you want to be a front runner, then, go root for whoever the front runner is this year in any sport. I don't care, but don't be a Trojan. All right. And don't bust up my phone because it's getting annoying. Yes, the defense is challenged, but that's the same defense that caused a fumble and 3 interceptions and leads the country in turnover margin. That is effort. That is resolve. That is character. All right. We've got Caleb Williams. Appreciate him. The guy's a G. Gonna win the Heisman. He's gonna light up Notre Dame like a Christmas tree. That shillelagh's in the bag. Yeah, I said that. Okay. I was more worried about this game than Notre Dame. Now we've got 1 goal down. And guess what? The national media is going to be talking about us. It's going to happen, right? It's all about the Trojans, as Pete Carroll would say. It's all about us. It's about us. And now is our time. It's hard to win on the road. Look at Tennessee losing to South Carolina, a nobody. Look at Ole Miss going to Arkansas, who just got beat by Liberty. Okay. They lost. And look at Ohio State. That score is a little bit better looking than it really was. It was 33-30 to Maryland. Come on now. Wow. Your 4th road trip of the year. And you also had a hard time at Northwestern. And look at Michigan at home, struggling against Illinois. Nothing is a given in college football. You have to show up. And the Trojans have showed up all year long. Thank you, Trojans. Thank you to our viewers. Thank you, Tony and Tim, for holding down the fort while I was gone. Appreciate you guys. Fight on, and we'll see you on Wednesday.
We'll see you on Wednesday, LBC. All right. Tim, the victory bell is home. What
That's
do you
where
think?
it should be, right? It was a home game for us, playing in our home stadium, the Rose Bowl. And I'll just go back to what Austin Jones said. He came for fun. And you know what's fun? All these guys came for fun. But you know what's fun? Fun is winning the Pac-12. Fun is getting double-digit wins. Fun is going to the playoffs possibly. And I'll keep it nice and short. I know Riley hasn't said it yet, but you know who else was fun? Pete Carroll was fun. Pete Carroll was a lot of fun. And he'd like to say all the time, we're just getting started. And that's exactly what I feel. This is a 1-year turnaround, and we're getting started. So great win, Trojans. And the victory bell, as Tony says, back where it belongs. Fight on.
Fight on, Tim. So, guys, I don't know if you guys know this, but our original mascot was actually the Methodists. We were the USC. Some people call it the Fighting Methodists, some people call it the Methodists. We were the USC Methodists. And if you go back to ancient Greek times, the Trojan War, that war should have been over in about a month. The Trojans were scrappy, and they fought hard, and they fought tough, and they found a way to drag that war out for 10 years, when it should have been over in about a month. So in 1912, we lost a track meet to Berkeley, but our team, they played hard, and they played so tough, and they played so scrappy that Owen Bird from the LA Times wrote, the Methodists fought like valiant Trojans, and the name stuck. And that's how we became, from the Southern California Methodists, we became the Southern California Trojans. And tonight's team, it wasn't always pretty, it wasn't always easy, but they found a way to get it done. And I thought tonight they played like Trojans, they fought like Trojans, and they did us proud. And the victory bell is back home. So as a Trojan Knight, as a Sigma Chi from the University of Sigma Chi, as we like to call USC, tonight is a proud, proud, proud night. It's a wonderful night for all Trojans everywhere. And we want to thank you guys for spending some time with us tonight, celebrating. For our friends from other teams, our friends from Oregon State, our friends from Cal, our friends from all over, we celebrate with you guys as well. And to our friends from UCLA, you guys have a hell of a season as well. We're proud of you. We are, starting tomorrow morning, back to being brothers in arms, back to being partners in crime, and getting ready to finish our role as founders of the Pac-12, and excited to be the newest members of the Big Ten. So UCLA, we're here together as well. So everybody, celebrate tonight. Fight on. We'll see you on Wednesday night for the Pac-12 Chat Show Live. Fight on, everybody.